that gamble with lives, which truths were grounded before they even ever had wings. If you've ever buckled a seatbelt at 30,000 feet, if you've ever stared out of that tiny window and wondered who's really in control of the skies, it isn't just flight, it's power, it's politics, it's pressure sealed in steel. We're peeling back the clouds from runway risks to sky-high secrets. We're diving deep where most dare not to look. Aviation Scope, every Sunday at 7 p.m. only on Voice of the People TV. We don't just report, we reveal. We don't just ask, we uncover. Because when it comes to the skies, ignorance is turbulence. Aviation Scope, the sky isn't the limit.
It's a beautiful Tuesday morning, and we say good morning and welcome to VOP this morning. And in the next 2 hours, we are going to take you through very interesting trading stories in Nigeria. And we start from the world of insecurity or security. French-speaking foreign terrorists, bandits invading Nigeria. Now, this is coming from our own dear federal government. And we'll talk about electoral reform, the 2026 Electoral Reforms Act. Presidential campaign threshold doubled to 10 billion naira. Global limit now 3 billion naira. Plus, 14.7 trillion naira power grab, Tinubu's executive order on oil revenues and opening for looting. This is according to experts. Now, these are the major topics of discussions. But before we go straight into all of this, we also have other interesting trending stories that we'll talk about in the course of the show. Come along with us as we take you through all of this morning.
Yes, come along with us, and it's still the month of love, but Nigeria has its own problems, and we'll be touching on some of these problems, security issues, money issues, and all of that. We'll touch on all of that. Now, politics. I told someone yesterday, I said, the number of people going into politics these days in Nigeria is alarming. Like everybody, almost everybody, wants to get into politics, and it's not because of they care for the people. It's not because they care for, they want to see those around them experience the dividends of democracy. The kind of dividends in most people's heads is different. It's about getting a piece of the national cake.
Yes.
That's what it is, and it's very unfortunate. Oh well, former Labour Party presidential candidate Peter Obi has raised a red flag over what he described as a humanitarian crisis unfolding at Joint Admissions and Matriculation Board registration centers nationwide, warning that punitive sanctions against computer-based test centers are leaving thousands of candidates stranded just days before the February 26 registration deadline. In a strongly worded statement issued via X on Monday, Obi recounted witnessing chaotic scenes at JAMB's Amabia office in Anambra State. Crowds of students sleeping overnight in Awka, some traveling from distant villages, only to find the same crowd and confusion he observed last year had persisted despite promises of corrective action. Well, his intervention comes as JAMB maintains an unyielding stance, insisting there will be absolutely no extension to the deadline, despite having registered only 1.5 million candidates against its 100,000 daily capacity. With centers currently operating at merely 30% capacity, the board has defended its hardline position, including delisting centers over alleged infractions and enforcing a no vision, no registration policy, requiring live CCTV monitoring from Abuja as necessary to curb examination malpractice, noting that 132 centers were sanctioned in 2025 for data mismatches. Oh, well, a lot has been said in this report. Well, in this, I don't think there's anything more to add to this. But yes, we've talked about the CBT centers and the rest of them. Yes, a lot needs to be done to ensure that these things are properly things are put in place so Nigerians will not suffer, especially they will not suffer unduly and unnecessary?
Oh, well, it's quite unfortunate that at this stage of our lives, of our national life, we are still grappling with just one institution of government. And in case you don't know, JAM has existed for 48 years. JAM was established in 1948. And why did that happen? Because at that time, we had few universities, the first generation universities, ABU, UI, UNL, UNILAG, IFE. Then we had the second generation that came, UniJaws, Uniport, University of Calabar, and all of that. Okay, ABU, first generation, and all of that. You know what the problem was? The problem was that some people, because they were brilliant or what, will get admitted into 3 or 4 institutions because universities used to organize their own matriculation examinations. So people will get 3 or 4 admissions. And by the time they take one and drop 3, others will have lost out, in getting admitted that is. So Nigerian government said, oh, well, what do? We have to harmonize. So they harmonized and established JAMB, so that it will be a center, where if you get admission in one university, you don't get in another institution, so that you don't deprive people of the opportunity. But as usual with us, we never plan ahead, we plan for the immediate. And so what has happened? What has happened is that in the past 48 years, we've not been able to upgrade JAMB. So that is why we keep going back and forth. We can't even cut over, from the manual to CBT and all of that. So what does that tell you about us? Still a problem of leadership. 48 years. One institution of government, we cannot fix it. And unfortunately, JAMB is not alone. I cannot recall, NMPC was, when it was NNOC, was established in 1976. This is 50 years. And we are still discussing the issue of what do we do with the NNPC? What do we do with JAMB? What do we do with our institutions? So we keep going back and forth. It speaks to who we are as a people until we are able to build institutions that could work on their own. At some points, we have had registrars of JAMB, some not doing well, some doing very badly. But the present one now, I think it's Ishaq Oloyede is his name. He seems to have done well. When he was a VC of University of Ilorin, Kwara State, he did well. So after his tenure, they brought him up to JAMB. But unfortunately, he's not been able to scale that institution of government because we keep going back and forth.
He's been remitting a lot more money than...
No, JAMB is not supposed to be a revenue generating center. But that is what it has turned to.
What it has become.
That is what it has become. Meanwhile, at the expense of what? Our children's education.
The lives of children. Yeah.
Lives of children. You know one thing, and it's only in Nigeria that you see a child in his secondary school wants to study medicine. And they say, no, you cannot study medicine. They want to study law. They say, no, you can't study law. Because you couldn't get to a certain cut-off point. In Cameroon that I know, if you grow up and say you want to study medicine, they will groom you to study medicine and not give you choice. Oh, you cannot study medicine because you are not intellectual. If we enter into medicine and you're unable to meet up, it becomes a different ballgame. But here we say, no, at the entry point, there are already barriers, entry barriers, they create entry barriers. So we need to reform JAMB. We are talking about NYSC, 73. That's about how many years now? 53 years. And so we are going back and forth. So JAMB is not alone. Whatever it is, the registrar, please ensure that the people are not pushed, the entry barriers that your policies have created, make sure that you untie all of those things so that people can get in. We are even talking about not having enough educated people, and we are still building entry barriers, creating entry barriers, either making it difficult for people to get educated. It doesn't help us. We're even grappling with the quality of education that we have. Well, there's a lot to talk about. Jane.
Good morning, Mr. Okoro and Moses. I think it's just a reflection of our society. We live in a society where anything goes. People can, fail at their responsibilities and there are no punitive measures. In saner clients, like we always say, if Nigeria was a sane client, we will definitely call for the head of the JAMB registrar. And then JAMB saying that they have enough capacity, that they have earmarked so much money, and yet they are later admitting to operating at 30% capacity. What does that say? Is it a situation of them biting more than they can chew? Or is it a situation of a collapse? Because it seems like the tech in Abuja is different from the tech in Enugu. And this is like the hinterland, right? This is a village, like a local community, a small community in Enugu, right?
It's the same reason. It's the same reason we're struggling with the usage of beavers and iron.
Exactly. I wanted to tie
it's
that.
The same reason. It's
just ineptitude, and because there are no punitive measures, we have this thing
and the president
play out every year, year by year.
That internet broadband hasn't gotten to a lot of
we don't
places.
have that capacity.
So why can't we have
our president?
Why can't we have manual backup in this case?
Okay, manual backup.
Yes.
Oh, you are saying that we should revert to the one that we wrote.
Yes.
Because that time we're using 2B.
Because it means we are not right for this.
If you use 2B instead of HB, you are in trouble. Yeah. And you know, there's one thing, and HB. There's one thing about JAMB. If you wrote JAMB, you know, and at some point you did change of course, and you get admitted into one, and you didn't go to collect the admission letter from one listing. I had somebody that graduated. They said, no, JAMB didn't offer you admission into this college, into this university. When you were never our student. The lady produced her payment receipts, everything, but where is the admission letter?
Yeah.
Now, she had an admission letter for the school that she attended. But because she didn't go to JAMB to cancel the admission, the first admission that she had, in fact, her first admission was public administration in Enugu State University of Science and Technology. She now got admitted, you know, to study law in Abia State University. So when she finished, when she was doing her class, you were never.
You were never.
You know what? It took the intervention of her uncle, who is a professor, you know, to go to ESUD and cancel that admission. JAMB now issued her a fresh admission letter into ABSU. That was
what she now presented after graduating.
It's funny how Nigeria has changed, and you would think that with technological advancement we should do better. But it seems as though with technological advancement we are retrogressing. Why do I say so? I wrote JAMB at a time. I remember my admission letter was sent to my house.
Yes.
And there was we didn't have all of this electronic or Wi-Fi, whatever. We didn't have all of that. My admission letter was sent to my house. I was
just sitting somewhere. My father came and dropped the letter. Say you have been admitted.
Yes.
I jumped up.
So it seems
now you need to go to JAMB.
Exactly.
You know, we like to punish ourselves. We would rather have students queue up in front of either JAMB or NECO office or WAEC office. You know, that I think it gives some people joy. And it happens in the civil service a lot.
Because it also creates an opportunity for some people to make money out of it. Yes.
Can we talk about some children who live in, let's say, Bariga, and are asked to go and write their JAMB in Badagry?
Or in Ikorodu?
Is that a normal system? It's not a very abnormal country, really. But
anyway, JAMB, whatever you do, please fix this problem for Nigerian youth. Let's move away from that. Former Kaduna State Governor Nasir El-Rufai has launched a blistering 1 billion naira legal counterattack against the Independent Corrupt Practices Commission, ICPC, accusing the agency of orchestrating an unlawful invasion of his Abuja residence, using what his lawyers describe as a fundamentally defective search warrant plagued by material drafting errors, ambiguous execution terms, and lack of probable cause. Well, the lawsuit filed just days after ICPC agents raided his Mambila Street home on February 19 demands the immediate return of seized documents and electronic devices while challenging the constitutional validity of the entire operation, which his legal team argues violated his right to dignity, privacy, and fair hearing. Under Section 34 through 37 of the Constitution. Well, in his 47-page filing, El-Rufai Senior Counsel Oluwole Iyamu argues the ICPC warrant failed to specify what items were being sought, contained contradictory dates and addresses, and was addressed indiscriminately to all officers rather than named individuals, rendering it an unconstitutional general warrant that courts have consistently condemned. Here we go again, you know, prosecutorial deficiencies and all of that. Lack of prosecutorial diligence. That is what we get. You know, now this lawyer has gone into technicalities. And at the end of the day, this is what we see, a pushback in the war against corruption. You know, lawyers are very adept at this. And we have lawyers that, I understand that there's a very senior lawyer, you know, when he goes to court, he doesn't argue, he just waits for you to make an error and he capitalizes on that error.
And he wins his case.
And he wins his case. You know, but the Supreme Court judge, CGN, was it Kekere Ekun? I think the last one that left. Ariwola. He said, well, lawyers
should stop winning cases on technicalities.
Stop winning cases on technicalities.
And that was when he was leaving office.
You know, it's only when they want to leave that they say, we need to put this reform in place. We need to put this reform in place. You know, but when they come, they keep upholding, well, the judiciary is the last hope of the common man and all of that. What we see in this case is corruption fighting back. We are talking about 423 billion naira of Kaduna State money, allegedly missing. It's not been established, but we want to get at the root of this matter. And so how do we get at it? We already having, you know, speed breakers in this process. The lawyer has come out to say, well, the warrant itself was deficient. We're still talking about the search warrant and all of that. So you see, by the time we get into service orders, motions, and all of that, this case, Ojo Zokalo, my former governor, his case lasted for 12 years. You know, and at the end of the day, what did we get? We have started with Yaya Bello. Now we are seeing it's getting into the third year. Before you know it, now he gets into Senate somehow, or he gets into another office, and we keep going back and forth. So my last word on this is prosecutors, please be diligent in doing your job. Don't create loopholes, you know, for lawyers, you know, to take advantage of and prolong cases unduly. And at the end of the day, the money is missing, it's not recovered. And eventually, when we even recover them, they are reluctant and we keep going back. You know, we start from where we stop. It doesn't help us as a people.
Well said, well said. But I will speak to the fact that there should be timeline for cases like this. You know, we're trying to peg a timeline for electoral cases. Let's also peg timeline for, you know, cases of crime or civil cases, whichever one. There should be a timeline. It shouldn't exceed maybe 5 months, 3 months, 4 months. You know, there should be speedy execution of these things. That way we will not over-labor our courts and judiciary. And that way, you know, whoever is seeking justice at any point in time will have closure. You know, you get closure. If the people are aggrieved that their commonwealth is being looted, at least within a specific time, they will see where the court will arrive at, and they will have closure, and everybody will move on with their lives. As against cases lasting 12 years, and in fact, those that complained in the first instance would have forgotten about it, and everyone would have moved on. You see, the issue of Yaya Bello, like you mentioned now, a lot of indigenes of Kogi State have moved on. They've moved on already. And now they're talking about the possibility of it getting into the Senate, 11th Senate. There's that conversation already on the table. And of course, if that happens, nobody will talk about monies, billions of naira taking. So it's not justice for those whose commonwealth, whose monies, those who have been deprived what ordinarily is due unto them, if cases are dragged like this. And, you know, you talked about the technicality aspect. I think you can't rule that out, really. It's about who's the smartest.
It would be difficult.
Yes, it's about who's the smartest. So, you know, if a client comes to me and I know he's guilty and I choose to take up the case, all I need to do is look out for loopholes. Yes.
I think Nigeria is one of the best places to practice as a lawyer. As long as in short, the best. I take that back. Nigeria is the best place to practice as a lawyer, as long as our political structure remains what it is. Right now, it's so sad that the narrative, the attention has moved from the offense. It's now the narrative or the focus is now on the nature by the manner by which the warrant was. You see, that's a diversionary tactics. And they will go round and round and round. And I love the fact that you talked about technicalities. And yes, Moses, I think that technicalities should be upheld. Because they will hold, you know, they'll rally and bandy around it. Before you know, time has gone. Another politician will be praying, please let this go on for long so that his own case will die.
Be frozen, will remain frozen.
You know, Yahaya Bello is roaming scot-free, and whether we like it or not, he's going to win an election and he'll become a lawmaker in this country.
Good.
And there's nothing we can do.
You see, the dangerous thing in all of this is that we are gradually building a pattern. And you know what the pattern is. We also have, apart if Yaya Bello, okay, let's even leave him out of it. If you go to Senate, how many senators are undergoing investigation?
A lot of them actually have cases.
Let's leave the Senate. Go to the cabinet. How many cabinet members, ministers are undergoing? Now, these are the people that superintend over us.
Yes.
So what do you expect?
That enact laws.
What do you expect? So do you expect that we'll ever come out of this?
I don't think
war?
we're ready. We aren't
This
ready.
corruption thing, we are not ready yet.
We are not ready.
Until we have a leader who says, enough of all of these shenanigans, enough of all of this nonsense. Now, let us stop it. Until we get that person, it will be difficult for us.
It will be difficult because this is a country that anything goes. There are no penalties. That's why people can do whatever they want to do. I think we should just move on and take on this our third story. The All Progressive Congress is openly defending its controversial alliance with the Federal Capital Territory Minister, Nyesom Wike, insisting that the former Rivers State governor has constitutional rights to campaign for any candidate, regardless of party affiliation, even as the PDP accuses him of engineering shameful defections that handed APC 5 of 6 area council victories in Abuja's weekend elections. APC National Publicity Secretary Felix Moka told Channels Television that Wike has the inherent liberty to support whomever he chooses, framing it as a constitutional freedom rather than a political inflation, a stance President Bola Tinubu reinforced by personally commending Wike for delivering the victories. The controversy erupted after 2 PDP chairmanship candidates withdrew mid-race to endorse APC rivals following Wike's interventions, prompting the PDP to condemn what it called forced concessions and anti-democratic inducements. While the ADC separately accused Wike of voter intimidation and imposing unlawful movement restrictions during the polls, the minister fired back that the results exposed emergency Democrats and proved Nigerians know the real ruling party, and proves that Nigeria knows the real ruling party. Interesting indeed. Yesterday, I think this was on the front burner during our the show yesterday, and I remember asking Barrister Aguemo if, legally speaking, if it was right for a serving FCT minister, a political appointee of the president, to go around and actively campaign for such an election. And I remember him saying that no, it's illegal. But again, I also argued that Wike is a lawyer and should know better. And what was his argument? He said, yes, he's a lawyer, but he may have not been called to bar. But again, this is just what happens in Nigeria. We are in a country where anything goes. And APC is pretty much telling the PDP and the ADC that don't hate the player, hate the game. It is what it is. You know, in a country where a political aspirant will step aside after being stifled by the ruling party. That's just political gymnastics, and it's just the bane of Nigerian politics, and there's really nothing we can do.
It's not political gymnastics, it's impunity.
It's impunity, but why does impunity go up? Why does impunity take place in Nigeria?
Because we allow it.
We allow it.
Because we allow it as a people, you know. What is happening in Nigeria, well, it probably would have happened in medieval Europe, you know, back in the days, but they were able to overcome all of that. Yeah. Unfortunately, if you go to places like Latin America, they have not been able to overcome, you know, all those deficiencies. And that is what we see in Nigeria. That is what we see in Africa. Barrister said that Wike, he didn't say that Wike may not have been called to bar. He said even after he's called to bar, he may not have practiced law.
Yes.
And so he might not have knowledge of the law. And I said, no, Barrister, even me as an ordinary, I'm not a lawyer, but I understand the law. I understand that.
And he said it was just a constitutional right, you know.
Okay. If I assault you, I know it's against the law. Yes. I don't need to go to law school to know all of that. Man, that's it. I think what is happening between the APC and the PDP, and let me put it in context. Wike took permission from the PDP to go serve in this cabinet. According to him, nobody has refuted that. And PDP said, go. But PDP did not tell him, go there and market their party. So will we call it a government of national unity? No, it is not. We used to have government of national unity, MPN, MPP, and all of that. Even under Obasanjo, we have Bola Ige was from the AD, Chuka Odom was from the PPA, and all of that. So what they are doing is strange. But if you ask me, the president, without knowing it, he's eulogizing Wike, he's praising him. The president, without knowing it, or whether he knows it and he's doing it on purpose, is gradually, incrementally destroying our democracy, whether he likes it or not. That is how I feel about it. But, well, history is going to sentence him.
I think Felix Moka's remarks is one of the most outrageous things you can ever see. You know, him defending Wike's stance.
How so?
How can you say that he's right? That what he's
the secretary of the party. He's supposed to speak in favor of the party.
You're right, though.
Well, the president, like Chukuma rightly said, is he's largely seen in everything that has been playing out. One would wonder, students of history, I mean, when time comes, I'm sure these things will come up later, and students of history will look back and ask themselves, what truly did the Tinubu administration do to Nigeria's democracy? And unfortunately, what might be studied in school in the days to come may not be palatable. It may just be, you know, things that people will look back and bite their fingers and say, oh, we allowed this to happen in Nigeria. It's, there's a lot of impunity going on. There's a lot of brigandage, as some will say, going on in the political space, and it's unfortunate. It's unfortunate. The president should ordinarily, the president shouldn't see himself just as a party man. He should see himself as a Democrat and the father of all. You know, he's the president now. He's not just the national godfather or father of the APC or the founder of the APC or whatever you want to call it. He's the president of Nigeria. He is our president, and he should ensure that things are done in such a way that every Nigerian will feel pleased at, you know, the way the administration is administering the state. But we should slow down. Now, Chukuma said something yesterday. Was it Chukuma or somebody else? That if this administration pursues the issue of insecurity with the vigor with which it is chasing political prominence and power, issue of insecurity would have been solved.
I agree.
Anyway, talking about issue of insecurity, we'll be going to that very shortly. That's our first that's what we'll dwell on in our first conversation. But in the meantime, let's quickly take headlines from the dailies now. And I go to Nigerian Tribune. These are the headlines here. The window headlines: bandits kill 10 in Plateau. Bauchi villagers flee to Gombe. Adamawa, GOC escapes ambush in Kebbi. Troops kill 5, recover arms. Odigye Oyegun Owie in power tussle over Edo South ADC leadership. Operators of Plateau mining sites were released after I left office. Mine also reopened. Fire me, ex-minister of solid minerals. Genco's cry out, lament 6.2 trillion naira debt. We will establish state police. Tinubu reaffirms, says Nigeria out of the woods. Lagos airport fire, 6 injured, 14 trapped persons rescued. Inferno started from server room. Fan. Airspace temporarily closed. Airport reopens. El Rufai flies 1 billion naira suit against ICPC. Others alleges unlawful invasion of residents. Lead exposure, Ogun screens 500 Ogijo residents. And then we also have Executive Order 9 aligns with the Constitution, doesn't amend PIA, DG Budget Office. Now, those are the headlines on the cover page of Nigerian Tribune. We can take one more.
Okay. And the nation leads with state police can't wait. Tinubu tells governors. Release of 7.2 trillion naira capital component of budget 2025 begins. Executive order on oil gas remittances into federal accounts unlawful. BRT fare to go up by 13%. Ondo government seals deep ports. $4 billion fertilizer plant deals. El Rufai sues the ICPC for $1 billion. Wike voids 485 Abuja land titles following failed verification. 6 injured, flights diverted as fire got MI the terminal. Those are the lead stories on the front page of the.
And that's pretty much
nation.
how far we can go on the newspaper headlines. We'll take a break. When we come back, we'll get into the conversation. French-speaking foreign terrorists, bandits, invading Nigeria, coming from the federal government. Let's talk about this when we come back. Join us again.
In a world where truth is the ultimate power and opinions scream the loudest, it's time to wade through the noise.
Hunger no get tribe! Hunger no get religion!
And scan the human interest and trending topics that matter. Stay tuned to The Issues, your plug to the stories making the buzz, from politics to science and technology, social justice, and more. Let's tackle the tough questions and expose the truth. The Issues on Voice of the People Television. Don't just react, understand.
Share the hot takes and hot debates in the exciting world of football. And joining me are the usual suspects, Ikechukwu and Mayowa, as we break down all the hot takes and everything that's happening in the football. Don't just watch football, live it with us. Catch us on the Locker Room and Voice of the People Television at 5 p.m. Nigerian time. And like I always say, if not 20 talk, with the sport.
And it's Hakim Ziyech, who puts the Atlas.
Are you ready for the extraordinary? Something big is happening on your screen. Introducing VOP TV. Now streaming on SLTV channel 264. From breaking news to captivating conversations, news analysis, giving you all sides to the story. We break in-depth discussions on the issues that matter, from politics to sports, entertainment, and lifestyle. VOP TV on SLTV channel 264. Join us as we redefine what television means to you. Voice of the People Television, VOP TV. Now you have more than a voice.
Now, welcome back and thanks for staying with us. If you are just joining us, this is VOP this morning. Now, let's quickly run into it. Our first topic of discussion. President Bola Tinubu's administration is facing mounting credibility crisis on insecurity after the secretary to the government of the Federation, George Akume, claimed that French-speaking foreign terrorists are behind Nigeria's escalating security nightmare, even as coordinated attacks by terrorists killed at least 10 people in Plateau State, while prompting youth to block the Jos Highway in protest while ISWAP terrorists overran a Nigerian army camp in Adamawa, killing 2 soldiers and cutting away weapons. Well, the government's controversial narrative delivered during a Catholic Bishops' Conference address alleges that arrested terrorists speak poor Hausa but fluent French, suggesting cross-border infiltration from Francophone West African nations. However, this explanation has done little to stem the bloodshed, with Amnesty International reporting at least 323 Nigerians killed in just the first 20 days of February across Benue, Katsina, Kwara, Kebbi, Niger, and Zamfara states. While the security architecture seems to be showing alarming signs of collapse, in Kebbi State, bandits are now demanding 100 million naira protection ransoms from communities to avoid attacks, while in Benue's Agatu local government area, residents are gripped by fear of imminent herdsmen assaults following credible intelligence alerts. The Plateau attacks proved particularly devastating, with gunmen on motorcycles striking Jor and Dorowa Babuje communities simultaneously between 8 and 9 p.m. on Sunday night, leaving 9 dead in one village and 1 in another, despite prior warnings to security agencies about suspicious movement. Now, that is a familiar pattern that we have noticed over time. Well, let's bring in our guests. We are joined in the studio here in Lagos, who we are broadcasting from by Prince Francis Chilaka. He's a political affairs analyst. Good morning, Prince, and thanks for joining us. Good morning. Good to have you. We appreciate your presence. We'll be joined by other guests in the course of the show, virtual guests from our outstation. For now, let's concentrate. Okay. Now, let's go to Benin and bring in Comrade Roy Oriabo. Comrade Roy Oriabo is an activist, but he is here in the capacity of a public affairs analyst. Good morning to you, Comrade Roy Oriabo, and thanks for joining us on VOP this morning.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you. My pleasure. Our pleasure to have you. And from Oka Studio, we've been joined by Honorable Ejiofor Egwuatu. Honorable Ejiofor Egwuatu is former House Committee Chairman on Information, Anambra State House of Assembly. He's a politician, but he appears here in the capacity of a public affairs analyst. Good morning to you, Honorable Egwuatu, and thanks for joining us.
Good morning. Thanks for having me here.
Okay. And virtually, we've been joined by Comrade Eze Oko-Splendor. He was the 2023 Labour Party Guber candidate in Ebonyi State. Good morning, Comrade Splendor, and thanks for joining us.
Good morning to you, sir. It's my pleasure to be with you again. Good morning, Nigerians.
Good morning. Beautiful. We have a full house. So let's kick off from here in Lagos. The Prince, my federal government, your federal government, our federal government, through the secretary to the government of the federation says, well, the people that are killing Nigerians, our fellow citizens, are not Nigerians. They are foreigners, French-speaking Nigerians. My Prince, can you react to that statement? How did it hit you? How did it hit you when you heard it?
Shameless.
Why?
The Secretary to State of the Secretary to Government saying this shows you how shameless the government is. You are telling Nigerians who have been dying in their numbers that foreigners are the ones coming to kill them. And you are proudly saying it. How did they enter into this country in the first place? How did they enter into the country in the first place? Did they come in as spirits? It simply shows you that our borders are porous. It simply shows you that those who are meant to man the borders are doing nothing. It simply shows you that the government has not taken the security of life and properties of Nigerians seriously. That is what it is.
Now, does it look like more like, okay, if this is an admission that we have foreigners killing us, at least we are, like they say that the problem identified is half solved. Does it look like that where the federal government knows who are killing us, the people that are killing us now, are we a step, in solving the problem?
Your president had a good relationship with the president of France. And if these guys are French speaking, it means that they were colonized by France. So why is he not taking advantage of that relationship? Yes, why is he not taking advantage of that relationship? So how come it's taking them almost 3 years or so to identify these people? Why? So where do we even start from? Are you now saying that the Boko Haram, the Lukarawa, the insurgents, the headers, all of them are foreigners?
No. When the secretary to the government of the federation says these people are not Hausa speaking, they don't speak fluent Hausa, but they are French, it's fluent. What does that connote? What is it trying to tell Nigerians?
It's trying to tell Nigerians that they don't even know who they're fighting with. They don't know. Okay. See, let me tell you, Okoro, if you go up north, unfortunately, nobody wants to admit the fact that the core problem in the north that started this whole thing is the minerals that they're mining in the north. It's the solid minerals that they're mining in the north. And who are those that are mining it? You remember here, governors in the north came and said they want to suspend mining in the north for 6 months. And I asked, I said, is it government-approved mining or illegal mining?
Okay, so you think the whole thing, the insecurity is economic related?
It is. Do you know what these guys are making from Nigerians? Do you know how much? We're talking about the north. Don't forget that Ondo State is coming is another hotbed right now. Kwara State has been receiving it.
Okay, because you have deposits there as well.
The last time they killed an an Oba or whatever in Ondo State. They kidnapped this defense staff. They kidnapped another person, I think, 2 days ago. So they're moving in.
Okay, they're coming closer.
So who are they?
Okay, let's quickly run to Benin City and let Comrade Roy help us make sense of what is happening. Comrade Roy, I'm with you now. Now, the Secretary to the Government of the Federation also said something. He said, well, Nigeria is not the only country that is plagued by insecurity. What does that mean? Is he telling us to live with it or what? Can you help us explain his position on that?
Yeah, once again, thank you for having me. You know, any position from the government must be taken very seriously. And now that the government are able to say, well, those who are terrorizing us are French-speaking personalities. To me, that is a product of their own research. They are able to situate the position that, because we have an illusion, we believe, some of us in this part of the world believe that once there is any strike, any act of terrorism, we quickly say Fulani herdsmen. Now that the government are able to situate it, taking the burden away from the Fulani herdsmen, I think they have sufficient information. I'm not government, I'm far away from the government. They have information more than what we have. Therefore, to me, let's listen to them. Maybe with this, they can get a solution. Because I'm one of those who believe, and I'm informing all Nigerians that we are not supposed to be continue to lament. That we should look for a way to look for solution. I'm not an agent of solution. Because lamentation, the book of lamentation was not written because of Nigeria. I'm an agent of solution.
Comrade Roy, now that the government is telling us this, but we also hear Nigerians who have been victims of these attacks, you know, people in Benue Plateau that have been killed, that are saying, or that say, well, these people at some point were cow herders and they spoke a certain Fulfude language, you know, and when they strike in some parts of the south, what we hear, well, the people that attacked us were speaking a particular Fulani language, Fulfude. So that is some form of contrast with what the federal government is telling us. So what are they trying to achieve? Because from the intelligence they have and from what the victims see and know, these things are different. Recall that the former Chief of Defense Staff, now the Minister of Defense, also told us that the people that are killing Nigerians are foreigners. But he didn't classify them. Now we get a classification. Oh, they don't even speak Flint Hausa. They speak French. So how do we balance all of that?
I mean that when this terrorism started in this country, it started from the Boko Haram. And those Boko Haram can be situated. We know where they are from. We are aware of the man who is the founder of Boko Haram. We can also explain how the Boko Haram metamorphosed. You know, if as of today, what you are telling me now is that if as of today, the Nigerian government is saying that the Fulanis are not the one responsible again. This is another dimension to it. We started from Boko Haram, ISWAP, different names are coming up. Are we not saying we have been told that Boko Haram is not as serious as they were? They are not as viable and potent as they were. You understand me? Therefore, and some foreign persons are not coming. The Nigerian government is telling us that these are French-speaking persons. What they are telling us in essence is that one, we are aware of the situation. The Nigerian government are taking responsibility. One, they are taking responsibility that one, our people are being terrorized. Our people are being killed on a daily basis. Our people are being kidnapped, but these are the persons doing it. To me, that is a step. What we should be demanding from Nigeria, I agree with the Nigerian government that there are killings. Killings is not only related to Nigeria. Terrorism is not only, as I last time was monitoring the international news, when I saw the Mexicans, what they also passing through there. I am not only brief for the Nigerian government, but I'm telling you that these are their position. To me, they are more now equipped in terms of information gathering. They are not more equipped on how they will tackle. Since we don't know who we are fighting, I think it will be better for the government, when I say we government, to also provide solution and tackle these terrorists. Because now the battle is getting closer. Who are you going to take? Mr. Koro, who are you going to take more serious? Is it the Nigerian government giving you information? Or those who are saying people were kidnapped a year ago?
All right, then.
People who were kidnapped 2 years ago.
Well, thank you very much,
or what the government is telling you today?
Comrade Roy. Well, thank you very much. Let's bring other guests into the conversation as well. We have Honorable Egwatu, Honorable Ejiofor Egwatu. Good morning to you. Welcome to the conversation. Now, some would say, does it matter what what tongue terrorists speak? Should that bother us really? Because Nigerians are saying our people are being killed. People are being driven from their ancestral land. Their houses are burned. Women and children are killed. And we hear people are kidnapped as well, 200 and, in fact, between January and February 23, record has it that over 323 people, Nigerians, have been killed by terrorists. So, what tongue terrorists speak, is that what we should be talking about at this time? Or ensuring the safety of Nigerians? This statement made by the Secretary to the Government of the Federation, does it give you, how does it make you feel? Do you have do you feel like government is serious in dealing with this issue at all? But if you have the question and you were to react, you might need to unmute your device so we can get your audio feed. All right, unfortunately, we can't get audio from Comrade Roy. I beg your pardon, Comrade Ejiofor Egwatu. We can't get audio, so I'll bring you back to the studio.
I'm here. Can you hear me now?
Then. I can hear you now. Go right ahead, please.
Okay. I think the best thing I was expecting to hear something else from the Secretary to the federal government after telling us they have identified these terrorists as French speaking. I was expecting to hear the efforts the government is now employing to drive away the French speaking terrorists. I was expecting to hear what the government has done to get those French-speaking terrorists arrested, and then what they have done about them. You know, just telling us they are French-speaking is like...
Oh, well, I'll tell you what they've done. I mean, that was going to be my next question, actually. He said the president's visit, within the same breath, he said the president's visit to Turkey was to acquire drones. That's something that they've done. But what have we seen in the past days? We've seen terrorists acquire drones that could, you know, bomb camps just by being controlled from a remote location. So you start to, I don't know.
It's obvious the terrorists are getting more technically equipped. It's obvious they are being, so much money is being pumped into that terrorism. And I think the government needs to attack their source of income. Who are behind this sponsorship? I don't think it's just the money they realize from kidnapping and all the rest of them. Somebody mentioned mining industry and some economic factors. The government should look at these things. This terrorism is taking a new shape. It's taking a new form. The people who are dying are Nigerians, and we need to be very sure of government effort to stop this killing. The most important thing is that these killings are stopped completely. The most important thing is that Nigerians are free to move around in their respective villages, homes, and abroad without fear of terrorism, without fear of attack. So the way, the kind of technology they are employing is an uncomfortable situation. Government should do much more than it is doing now. It's a very pathetic situation. Government should do much more than they are doing now.
All right. Then.
You can't tell me that the Nigerian government is about to obtain drones. How now?
All right.
We should have had enough drones now, before now. What about the funding? The military in the Nigerian budget, the military is getting a large chunk of budgetary allocation, and it's also getting a large chunk of releases. So many infrastructural developments are not getting as much releases as the military is getting just for the fight of this terrorism. And so we should see them acquiring everything that they need acquiring drones shouldn't be a news for every Nigerian to jump at. We're supposed to be the giant of Africa. How can acquiring drones become news? Drones have always been used by so many countries long years before now. Nigeria should not be found wanting of that.
All right, thank
so
you very
acquiring
much.
drones is not a very palatable news.
Okay, you say that's not a palatable one, but some will say that at least that will reduce the number of men that will be found in the theater of war, because with drones you need lesser men on ground. That's what I mean. That's the argument that some will put forward. Prince Francis Chilaka, let me take you up on this. This drone acquisition from Turkey, as said by the Secretary to the Government of the Federation, reacting to foreign terrorists, foreign individuals that are in Nigeria. Now, if you followed the past few days, like I said, now the Secretary to the Government of the Federation, Senator George Akume, is saying this. But sometime last week, we heard that terrorists acquired about 35 drones. Does it seem like there's a sabotage somewhere? Because if government, and if you follow up the visit of the president to Turkey and the relationship Nigeria has had with Turkey, you will understand that they have constantly warned Nigeria about the presence of a terrorist group in Nigeria who they say are embedded in charitable work, hospitals, schools, and the rest of them. They have told Nigerians that these people are here, drive them away. Now, the president going there gave some Nigerians the impression that yes, he's beginning to align. But right after that visit, there was an acquisition on the other side. Is there a sabotage somewhere?
When we talk about sabotage, I mean, I'm happy. Somebody said, "Oh, I'm happy. Government has identified the problem," and like we say, you can only solve a problem when you identify. You can find a solution when you identify the problem. First and foremost, Okoro asked a question, very pertinent question. He said, "Who do we believe? Do you believe the man that comes to your house to maim, to rape, and to kill your children, he speaks a language you're a bit familiar with? You understand what I'm saying? He speaks a language you're familiar with. Maybe it's in Igbo, maybe it's Hausa, maybe it's Fulfude. He speaks. Or do you believe somebody who stands outside and insinuating that this man is speaking this language?" So until we balance that, I would believe the man that was attacked. Because the man that was attacked has a first-hand information. He knows who attacked him. He understands the language they spoke. So for government to now come and say, "Oh, these guys are speaking," government is just trying to take Nigerians' mind out of the reality. If you're saying they speak French, for instance, are they the ones occupying the land, the ancestral homes of people that have been chased into IDP camps?
And renaming the LGs in those places?
Yes, so if they're the ones, and they are foreigners, why have you not decimated them? We must look at things critically. We're not dummies in this country anymore. Nigerians have become more aware. Nigerians have become more educated. So if you're telling me that, oh, they are foreigners, so foreigners have taken over, let's say, a community in Oshodi, foreigners have taken it over, and the government feels that the best way to address it is to pamper them, they're not your citizens.
If they're not.
Your loyalty lies with your citizens. So you must take them out.
All right.
And return your citizens back to their ancestral homes. They will now know that, okay, yes, it is foreigners. That's on the one side. On the other side, this, call them whatever name you want, terrorists or whatever, these guys are making so much money. Because if you're saying that they bought drones, did they just go to the market to pick it? They bought them with money. How did they do the transfer? Who paid for the drones? Are we saying that you can no longer track transactions? Okay, the way you and I are sitting down here now, if 100 billion hit our account, EFCC will track it. CBN will track it. Why are they not able to track how these guys are buying this equipment. And why is it that the government has kept quiet, very silent? And that silence is the fact that, first of all, we heard that list was given to the former late president. Nobody's talking about it. Why is government finding it difficult to come and name those who are sponsoring banditry in Nigeria? Why?
Can we also talk about the fact that it appears like there's a lot of complicity and lack of political will? Because why do you think these bandits would actually write to a community in Kebbi State and ask them to pay 100 million naira protection fee? So what exactly is happening?
When you allow non-state actors to wield so much power, you embolden them. When this thing started, when they started holding these peace meetings, we were here, we said this is wrong. This should not be encouraged. You cannot tell me that, we hear this story about vampires, and they say vampires live on human blood. And then you have 10 children, and you go and start negotiating with a vampire that needs the blood of your children to survive. Do you think you will spare any of them? Nobody tests sugar and spits it out.
Okay. All right, Prince. We'll come back to you. Now, let's quickly run to Comrade Splendor Oko, who is also with us on the show. Now, Comrade, I'm sure you have followed this conversation. If the federal government is coming to tell us that the people that are killing Nigerians, our citizens, are French-speaking people, does it look to you like this problem has been internationalized? Does it take in an international dimension? Mind you, we have ISWAP here, Islamic State West Africa province, an offshoot of ISIS. We are also told that Lakorawa came in through the borders from Sokoto State. So do you see an internationalization of this problem to the extent that we might just have some people, proxies, sponsoring this war against Nigeria? And to what end would that be?
Thank you so much, Mr. Okoro. I will start by saying that I'm highly disappointed from the statement made by the Secretary to the Federal Government, Senator George Akume, by stating that the terrorists who are killing Nigerians, who are abducting Nigerians, who are causing mayhem to the citizens of this country, speak French. Let me tell you, Mr. Okoro, we are not interested in the language the terrorists speak. We are interested in making sure that these terrorists are completely annihilated from this country. That is the interest of Nigerians. Whether they speak Latin, or they speak Voodoo, or they speak French, is not our business. Let me also tell you that it is very disheartening that these terrorists have wielded much power that they can attack states like Zamfara, Benue State, Katsina State, Kwara State, Kebbi State, Niger State. They are gradually taking over the country. And the government is coming out to tell us that they have identified that they speak more of French. The government is telling us that they have gone to acquire drones. Is that supposed to be a solution to this? For me, when this thing started, I said, you don't pay compensation, you don't bargain, you don't dialogue with terrorists. Well, once you find out that a certain group are terrorists in the country, the next thing you do is to make sure you take them out of the surface of the country. That is it. You don't bargain with terrorists. You don't dialogue with terrorists. Now these terrorists are beginning to, conquer the citizens, beginning to chase the citizens out of their ancestral home, and beginning to take over. Just like we all know that in Benue State, for instance, these terrorists struck Benue State, chased out the people who are native owners of the land, occupied the place. And the people who were so attacked in Benue State came out to say that these people speak Fudu language. They didn't say that they speak French. These are people who witnessed that attack. They are victims of that attack, and they have said they speak Fudu. Then the federal government, through the secretary to the federal government, is now telling us that these people speak French. For me, whether they speak Fudu or they speak French, Nigerians
Comrade Splendor, talking about, okay, I want us to expand and deepen this conversation. I want us to talk about the probable internationalization of this problem. You recall that at some point we had ECOWAS, 3 countries, Mali, Niger, and Burkina Faso, you know, left the ECOWAS and formed the Alliance of Sahel States. Now, at that time, our president was the chairman of ECOWAS, you know, heads of government and all of that. And you also know that at some point we had a problem with Niger. If we take away ISWAP, Islamic State West Africa, more like a proxy for some Middle East organization that might be interested in having a foothold in West Africa and Nigeria, the arc between the Borno, Chad Basin and all of that could be, you know, their flashpoint. If we take that away, does it look like the Alliance of Sahel States, maybe from Mali, you know, that route, we also, even before insecurity made on us, we had a situation where it was a thriving route for the smuggling of light arms and ammunition. Could it be these French people are not happy with Nigeria and trying to say, okay, since you want to cause trouble for us, let us also cause trouble for you? Is it probable that that's what we are seeing? Can you help us make sense of it? What do you think? What do you know? I want us to talk about the international aspects of this crisis, because it looks like Nigeria has become some kind of interest for a lot of foreign powers. Now, US is here. We are going to talk about US in a bit, but let's talk about maybe the Alliance of Sahel States. Could they be the one, you know, helping themselves, you know, to cause problem in Nigeria? What do you see? What do you know? What do you think?
Much, I think whether it is internationally sponsored or locally sponsored, what we are facing is terrorist attack. Let me tell you something. You see, when somebody said that, the Secretary to the Federal Government said that these people speak more of French, obviously, it is already an international attack on Nigeria. And like the guests in the studio said, how are they entering Nigeria? Are they spirits? Does it mean that we don't have borders again? Does it mean that our borders are so porous that we cannot even identify these men when they come in? Look at the type of weapon these men are coming in with. Does it mean that there is a conspiracy in the protection of our borders? These are some the questions we ask ourselves. Secondly, you know, when we talk about French-speaking people, we know that they are coming from France. Doesn't mean we don't have this bilateral relationship with France that can say, okay, let us team up. Our president has been going there. Why not say, let us team up? Let me discuss with the president of the French-speaking country that these people are attacking us through your borders. Help us to see how we can annihilate it. And also, don't forget that Nigeria is an independent country. Nigeria is supposed to fight this type of, attack, with their independent military base. You see, it was because of the inability to tackle this, whether you call it a foreign attack or local attack, that necessitated, the American government led by Donald Trump to say that Christians are being killed and we cannot keep quiet anymore. We are going to come and see what we can do about it. And, when that statement came, when they declared Nigeria as a country of particular concern, some persons were like, oh, they are not supposed to do that. Nigeria is independent and all that and all that. Now, Nigeria is now telling us that they are collaborating with American government to see how they can fight this insecurity. But, take it to the bank, whether it is from France, whether it's from Cameroon, whether it's from Togo, whether it's from Turkey, whichever country it's from. It is, yeah.
I'm so glad you touched on the U.S. government's intervention, but it's just to more than 20 days in February, and over 300 people have been killed. So is it that we should have a little more patience so that we can see the effects, the good work of the American intervention, or what is really happening? Because we are not feeling it.
Okay, thank you so much. I believe that American government is such a government that actually handles this kind of attack technically. I believe they are studying the ground, but Nigerian government, who is the leader, who is in charge of the country, is supposed to be ahead of even the American government that have come. They are supposed to be at the forefront of tackling this insecurity, whereby the American government that just arrived will be giving them backup, will be giving them security coverage, will be giving them information, with their technologies they have brought into the country. The Nigerian government cannot just fold her hands and now say, now that American government is in Nigeria, let them now do the rest for us. That's not how it is done. There should be a collaboration. And I believe that in no distant time, if American government is very serious with dealing with this insurgency, dealing with these terrorists in the country, I believe that very soon results will start coming in. But for me, I want to tell the federal government that they are not doing enough. The federal government is not doing enough. But telling us that they are acquiring drones and telling us that these people are from French, that they are French-speaking people. It's not enough to convince Nigerians that we should go about,
Comrade, one of the things this administration prides itself as doing is rehabilitating some of these so-called repentant bandits. And just a few days ago, the Benue State governor came under fire for pleading with the federal government to come and build a rehabilitation center for bandits in Benue State, and a lot of people have called for his head. So do you think that this is misplaced priority?
It's completely misplaced priority. How do you even identify, how do you even convince yourself that these persons are repentant bandits? How do you rehabilitate somebody who has been killing the people, who has been maiming the people, who have been destroying villages, who have been rendering people homeless? And you only come to say that you are rehabilitating them. How did you even know that they have repented from that also?
Oh, well, okay.
So for me, I think it's a misplaced priority.
Misplaced priority, you say. Well, we are trying to get concluding thoughts on this one. So when we'll be moving away from the issue of insecurity and talking about something different, politics, the political space specifically. Now, should we take that as your concluding thoughts, or is there something you want to add? If you may, you can do that in 30 seconds.
Okay, thank you so much. I want to advise the federal government to buckle up. Don't be deceived with the fact that these people speak French or they speak Fudu. That the federal government should concentrate in making sure that these terrorists are completely wiped out from Nigerian surface.
All right, then.
That is what we want to hear. Thank you.
All right, then. Thank you very much, Comrade Oko Splendor. Now let's go to Ejiofor Egwatu. Honorable Ejiofor Egwatu, please, your concluding thoughts.
I think the federal government, having identified the nationality or whatever of these terrorists, should do everything within its powers to estimate them. They should be driven out of this country. We shouldn't give them the chance, the space, the opportunity to operate here again. Right. And then we should, as a matter of urgency, begin to deal with terrorism, local part of it, because I don't believe that all the terrorists are coming from French-speaking countries. Oh, well. Some of them are very local too. And so some of these local ones should be dealt locally with.
And the international ones should be dealt with internationally.
Yes.
All right then. Thank you very much, Honorable Ejiofor Egwatu. Comrade Roy Oriabo, let's have your concluding thoughts now. The government is saying, some would say, let me just put this out there, some would say this is diversionary because, you're saying they speak poor Hausa, and they're more eloquent in French, and The elections are around the corner. Is this trying to, pander to this side, not make this side feel like, you are the bad guy, things like that? Oh, well, what are your concluding thoughts on this one?
There are different dimensions to the insecurity that have bedeviled this country. There are religious dimension is there, political dimension is there, cultural dimension is there. But the issue, I believe, as I said, as agent of solution, Nigerians must support Nigeria government so that they can be able to overcome this insecurity. Very just now, we saw it, some persons were protesting. When the US said they were interested, they want to support the Nigerian government. Some of the strike they did in Sokoto, some Nigeria came out and they were protesting against it. These are persons who were also victims of the heartless disposition of this terrorism. Yet, they were protesting. We need that synergy because now, being government, being a governor, a president, a secretary to the federation, does not make you a superhuman being. You are not reasoning more than any Nigerian. Therefore, we must look there at that level so that we also need to give them that support so that they will be able to deliver. Because the people in government today were once on the other side. If tomorrow Mr. Okoro is picked from this platform to be a minister, that does not mean that it's not from this platform. By the time we have this kind of dimension, and nobody is even interested where the insurgency, the terrorism, until we go back to the foundation. What are the foundation? One, the day we introduced Sharia into our political lexicon, that was the day Nigeria as a country, that was the day we embraced insecurity. From there, we embraced insecurity and peace have since eluded us. We must go back to it, and that is the religious dimension about it. The day the people were now coming that we need Sharia in this country, that is the beginning of our problem. Until we revisit that, we will continue to struggle and continue to work ourselves what we are supposed to do. Thank you.
All right, then. Thank you very much. Comrade Roy Rebel. Prince Francis Chilaka.
What do you want me to say?
Your concluding thoughts.
Well, my concluding thought is that the government needs to be sincere with Nigerians. You can't be asking Nigerians to support you in the fight against terrorism when you're not being honest and sincere with them. A lot of lives have been lost, and for government to now come out and begin to lay the blame on foreign nationals is just diversionary.
Thank you very much. Well, gentlemen, stay with us as we get into another conversation now. Electoral reforms. Presidential campaign threshold doubled to 10 billion naira. Global limit now 3 billion naira. Let's talk about this when we come back. Join us.
Welcome back, and you're still watching VOP this morning. President Bola Tinubu has signed into law the Electoral Act 2026 as amended that doubles presidential campaign spending limits to a staggering 10 billion, while simultaneously stripping away mandatory real-time electronic transmission of election results, triggering explosive allegations from opposition leaders, Catholic bishops, and civil society groups that the new law is a calculated blueprint for electoral fraud designed to rig the 2027 elections. The legislation, which also raises governorship spending caps to 3 billion and introduces stricter penalties for vote buying, was rushed through both chambers of the National Assembly and signed within 24 hours. despite tear gas dispersal of protesters led by former Labour Party candidate Peter Obi and activist Aisha Yusufu and others who had stormed the National Assembly gates demanding transparency safeguards. This timing has proven incendiary. Just days after the signing, the February 21 FCT area council elections recorded abysmally low voter turnout, prompting former VP Atiku Abubakar to declare that democracy in Nigeria is being suffocated slowly and dangerously, while the Catholic Bishops' Conference of Nigeria warned that lawmakers were talking from both sides of their mouths and demanded urgent reversal of the electronic transmission clause to prevent any human tampering with the expressed will of the electorate. Prince Chilaka, it means it costs 10 billion to run for president of Nigeria. So really, who is this law designed for? Is it for the billionaires, the godfathers, or who is this law really meant for?
Okay, but you see, the thing is this. We keep talking about democracy. And we keep saying that some people fought for democracy. But I'll tell you, what we see is short of being democratic. What we see is winners take all. What we see is that our country is being sold out, whether we like it or not. Because you don't expect somebody who spends 10 billion to come and develop this country. The person will not develop it. The person will not even do anything, because after spending 10 billion, the first thing you do is to recoup your money back with interest. We should be talking about how to make electioneering in Nigeria cheap, so that the ordinary poor man on the street who is a Nigerian will have a right to contest. But as it is today, I mean, if we put all our resources together, none of us here can even contest for councillorship. That is how bad it has become. So this law that Mr. President signed into, or this law that was hurriedly put together between the executive arm of government and the legislators, is taking us back 50 years. It's a very, very useless law that we shouldn't even talk about.
And this same law, if you recall what I read, also says or allows for votes to be changed after they are cast. So what does this tell us about what to anticipate in 2027?
Okay, you want a set of people who came to power cunningly, who came to power via vote buying, who came to power via rigging. Do you expect that such people will sit down to make a law that will stop vote buying and all of that? No. They will not. This National Assembly we have, they're far from it. Because if you are talking about a reform, first of all, you will look at what happened in 2023. We're talking about this reform because of the things that played out in 2023 during the elections. And we don't want a repetition of it. But rather than address those issues and curb them and put more stringent laws, you are throwing everything to the dogs. You are even adding the one that is even going to get the electorate more angrier. Because what it means is that vote buying has become legalized.
Okay, all right. Let's quickly run to Comrade Honorable Ejiofor Egwuatu, who joined us from Anambra State. Honorable Egwuatu, the FCT council elections were conducted on Saturday, and INEC came out on their own without prompting to tell us that they used e-transmission of results based on the act that was signed by our president. And according to INEC, they achieved 92.2% success of electronic transmission of results. What does that tell you? What does that tell us?
It's a good news. The same thing happened in Anambra governor's election last year, and there was e-transmission of results. So remember that every other thing concerning the election is done manually, except the ECH1, that is the polling booth results being snapped and then using the BVAS to transmit to IRN. It's a success story if they achieve 92.something%. It's something that we can be happy about. And if INEC can do that in the general elections in 2027, it's going to help us a lot. But my fear is about the polling booth results having mistakes, because at the collation centers, some of these polling booth results are cancelled because of mutilations, because of overvoting, because there are so many reasons to cancel a polling unit result. And it's only a collation center at the collation center that such can be done. So my fear is what happens when you transmit the same result and then you get to the collation center. There are mistakes discovered, there are mutilations discovered, there are reasons to cancel that particular unit.
Okay, now still talking about the e-transmission, will it be fair for us to use the FCTA council elections, like you said, Anambra Goba elections too? Will it be fair for us to use both areas as units of analysis when we are discussing the capacity of INEC, to transmit elections electronically? Will it be fair for us to use these two areas are urban, these two areas are urban areas? Will it be fair for us to use them to judge as units of analysis? I mean, talking about remote areas in other parts of the country.
Yeah, they are urban areas. Yes, we can use them for now because there is no other place to use. But there are certain places where there might be technical hiccups. There are certain places, there are certain villages, there are certain remote areas where technical hiccups can occur. And I think the law has a provision for the continuation of the manual collation of results until there is a network somewhere that they can do that. So, there is a lot of difference between immediate transmission of polling unit results and opportunity to transmit anytime there is
well, the argument
network.
really has been that because of lack of internet access, we may not be able to achieve immediate transmission of results. How do you react to that argument, seeing that you're mentioning that as the only way forward now?
Where it's difficult for the beavers. There are so many polling units, even in urban areas, the beavers refuses to function because of, I don't know what to call it, and it stops a lot of things. So when such situations happen, the law, if you have a provision that allows the manual system to continue until when
now let's talk a bit about let's talk a bit about the monies required, the benchmark, the monies required to contest elections. If you find yourself in a party now, let's go back when you were in the State House of Assembly, the State House. What was it? How much was it then to contest for elections?
The figure, but it was far less than that. I was in the House of Assembly in 2007. That's a very long time ago.
Okay, so
very,
it was
very long time.
Way lesser than that now.
It was far lesser than that. Far
3 billion.
much lesser than that. But you see, when we mention 10 billion, I do a rough calculation, dividing 10 billion by 36 states and then the capital FCT. You see what amount of money comes into one state if your target is to spend 10 billion. There is a mobilization that goes on with campaign. You print T-shirts, you pay fees for adverts, you pay to the government for adverts in every state. You pay a lot of money for a lot of things. Transportation, you brand vehicles.
But who is this good for? Who is this good for really? Is it good for the states where campaigns will be held? Or is it good for...
Well, if somebody that sells this T-shirt, they are Nigerians. Somebody is the artist that does the branding, they are Nigerians.
So
somebody is the
buys revenue going around.
So the money is going around. So 10 billion naira for a presidential election. If you divide it by 36 states, you don't have up to 300 million going to a state.
But are we going to have, the fear with a lot of people is that we may not have those with good intention if they can't cough out that much money for political posts.
If you have good intentions and you're able to convince people who will support you, they will raise money for you.
How then do we now, conquer the issue of godfatherism if you need to depend on people to support you?
One doesn't need to be a godfather. If you believe in a cause, you put in money into it. If you have 10 people donating 1,000, that's 10,000 naira. If you have 20 people donating 1,000, that's 20,000.
I like
People
that
cannot form and
mathematics.
become subsidized.
Crowdfunded.
So little by little, people, where you're supposed to spend 200,000, people contribute 10,000 out of it. You spend 190,000. It makes the people part of the process.
All right, Honorable.
So once it is people friendly, once you're able to convince the people, they will cut down the amount of money you're going to spend and put in their money and make sure you achieve a lot.
Okay, Honorable, looking at this law, from the outside, as one who was once a lawmaker, would you say or describe it as progress or as a system trying to rearrange itself against 2027? Would you applaud this law and this reform?
Yes, I will applaud the law.
So? Why so?
You see, the lawmaking is a difficult task. A lawmaker is like a judge who listens to different sides of an issue and comes at a compromise. In lawmaking, the judge will give justice. The lawmaker will give justice, but he will try to bring two very different or very many opinions into one in such a way that it will touch the better parts of everyone. So what the lawmakers have done, what the National Assembly has done, is to critically analyze situations in every part of Nigeria and then take this middle course. That if you make it very rigid, it becomes very difficult for the law to be operational. So allowing this little space will make it easier to do everything that has to do with the election.
All right.
And then if you look at what happens during the election, you will agree with me that if you make it too rigid, the lives of people who partake in that election will be at risk. There must be a way where they can get out of it.
All right, then. I'm not sure I got that, but thank you for your contribution there. Let's move this conversation to Roy Oriabo, or Comrade Roy Oriabo. Now, you're still with us, I believe.
I'm here, sir.
Great. So let's talk about this. I mean, 10 billion, 3 billion, the monies are increasing. You heard Honorable Ejiofor, so it's money for the states, advertorials, printings. Of course, this will go to party agents and members of the parties. Do you think it's going to trickle all the way down to the ordinary man in the streets? And how? The big question here is, how then do you control people who contribute to your emergence to say, look, I want this person to get a ministerial slot? How do you control all of that if you need to go for a certain level of crowdfunding?
Thank you once again. Nigeria is an unusual place. I'll keep on telling Nigerians who care to listen. Meanwhile, we don't even have a reliable data to track the kind of money we are spending. When I heard about 10 billion, that money is grossly inadequate for any man to win president and presidency in this part of the world. That is not the truth, unless we want to deceive ourselves. 10 billion, with 10 billion, you can't win the governorship race in Nigeria. It's not possible.
Do you need the money to win, or you need convincing the people to vote for you to win the election? Do we need money to convince people?
For logistics. Let me tell you, in 2023 election, when I was living beneath of my village, I bought fuel at 4,000 naira. It took me and it brought me. A few months ago, when
I wonder why the internet decided to take your audio off, because I would have loved to hear, how you maneuvered. Is it more expensive now to buy fuel and the rest of it? Is that why we should be talking about contesting for political office with such humongous amount? But you say it's not so much money. Let's see if. All right. So I'd love to bring this question to Prince Francis Chilaka now. Let's have your reaction to the conversation so far. Then we'll go to Oko Splendor.
I think the way politicians look at this thing is different from the way we, the ordinary Nigerians, look at it. We're talking about a country where we're saying that everybody must participate in politics, and we want Nigerians involved. And you're setting a figure, And I'm asking myself, how many Nigerians today can afford 3 billion naira?
Crowdfunding. You heard the honorable.
You see, when you say crowdfunding, people will crowdfund you if they trust you, if they believe in you. The process has been flawed from ab initio.
Isn't that even better? If you
the
have
process, let me finish. The process is flawed. You're talking about 3 billion. The problem of Nigeria starts with the parties when you have to buy the ticket. That's where the problem starts from. That is where everybody gets eliminated. And that is where this whole thing about godfatherism cannot be thrown away. Because if I want to contest election and you're telling me to pay 50 million for the ticket, then I have to run to Chukwumokoro. Chukwumokoro will say, okay, I'll give you 12 million, but you will do this. And I put my thumbprint. I run to her, I run to you. At the end of the day, what happens? You guys have become godfathers. So tell me, how will I extricate myself from you? How will we have a thriving democracy when we have such a situation? So they know themselves. They know that they have accumulated so much wealth. They know they have, enriched themselves.
You're not reacting to the argument that the money trickles down to the ordinary man.
It doesn't get, the only money that trickles down to the ordinary man is the bribe, vote buying. That is all. How does that make the ordinary man happy? You have institutionalized poverty. And so you're now indirectly saying, okay, because election is coming, from that N3BN, you will use 1 billion to buy votes. And you say you're a politician. You say you're a man of integrity or integrity. and you think that is the way to go? When elections were contested in 1979 in this country, the likes of Shehu Shagari, the likes of Simon Bakwe, the likes of Jakonde, did they spend such money?
Yeah, but
this will give us quality.
Inflation and other
Forget the inflation, they give us quality leadership. The people you have today, what kind of leadership are they giving us? What kind of leadership are they giving us?
The Prince.
They are rather buying people's votes because the Nigerians have become so poor, hungry, so you just buy them off. And then you give them pittance. And then at the end of the day, you embezzle all the money.
Okay, all right, Prince. In discussing all of this, let's go to Splendor. Because Splendor was Guber candidate in 2023. He will help us understand, how much he spent, how much, if he can, and how that trickled down to the ordinary citizens, and how that helped the economy of Ebonyi State. Comrade Splendor, I'm sure you have followed us, in this conversation. You have been part of it. Tell us, 3 billion naira for governorship and 10 billion naira spending cap for president. How does that help our democracy? Walk us through your experience as a Guber candidate in 2023, Labour Party.
Thank you so much, Mr. Okoro. Honestly speaking, the idea of raising the money from initial 5 billion for the presidency to 10 billion, and that of the governorship from 1 billion to 3 billion, tells you how insensitive this administration is. Nigerians are actually wallowing in abject poverty. Nigerians are looking for a solution. The only thing we hear is increment on campaign expenditure, which does not really. The problem we have in where somebody who is competent enough, who is with enough strategy to pull the people out from poverty to a situation where they can look back and say, yes, that we are better off. Those people are being handicapped with this humongous amount of money that is placed in politics. For me, I believe that the idea of making politics to be very expensive in Nigeria, that it does not allow the competent people to step into the shoes of governance.
Comrade Splendor, so, you contested the Ebonyi State governor in 2023.
Yes.
At that point, the cap was 1 billion naira. Now, did you lose the election because you didn't have 1 billion naira, or that the 1 billion naira you had it didn't work for you at that point? Can you help us make sense of it?
Honestly speaking, you must not have 1 billion naira to become a candidate. The issue of who becomes a candidate starts from the party level, okay? When once you are able to participate, you get a nomination form, get interest form, and then participate in the party primary, and you are able to win the primary, you automatically become the candidate of the party. The party will now send your name to INEC for to be published as the candidate of the party. So you begin to prepare or begin to campaign depending on how much you have. You must not have 1 billion. But what I'm saying is that if these people who are already in power place it at 1 billion or place it at 10 billion,
so the question,
they only create...
The question my colleague asked... sorry.
Yes, can you hear me?
Okay, yes, we can hear you. We can hear you, but we'd like you to react to the question.
Yes, I said the main reason for the government in power to say, okay, you can spend 10 billion before you can contest for the presidency is just an avenue to muzzle up money they can use to buy up the vote again. Just like my colleague stated there, that this thing will aid them into vote buying.
Okay.
You see? And you know, when the people are so much impoverished that they don't have any option, they only wait for that crops, that peanut that comes to them,
Comrade
and they surrender their vote to you.
Comrade Oko.
Yes, I'm with you, sir.
Good. Now, the question my colleague asked you is, you got the tickets for your party to run. Now, did you lose because you didn't have enough money to campaign? Did the party support you in campaigning? Why do you think you lost the election? Was it, and what you spent, the monies you spent, how much of it got to the ordinary man?
Well, like I said before, I said you must not get 1 billion to run.
Yes, you didn't have 1 billion. I know. Okay. I mean, from what you have said,
because
you didn't have 1 billion.
It was not there.
But what you spent, was that why you lost? Yes. Because you didn't spend enough. Do you think that was why you lost?
Okay. For me, I think it was not really why I lost, but it contributed. You know, because when it contributed because when in 2023, you know, the government of APC, the former governor, who now is the Minister of Works, you know, was still the incumbent then. So a government in power enjoys what is called power of incumbency. Okay, in that power of incumbency, you will see that they are literally in charge of the security agencies. They have the fund, you know, so you cannot actually compete with them in terms of fund. But what we are saying is that as an opposition, if you come out to contest and you talk to the people, it is a process. If they didn't see you worthy to become the governor now, when they now look at what you are actually, your campaign strategies, they can now come and say, okay, the next election, we are going to try this opposition because of what he said to us. For me, I told my people that collecting bribe or collecting indulging on vote buying cannot take away their suffering. You know, that the people should look at the particular candidate who has solution to their problem.
Okay.
We should be talking about in Ebonyi State, we have so many mineral resources.
Yeah.
Okay. We have so many means of generating internal revenue that can aid or subside the suffering of the people, not by taxing the people. You can't tax a person, you know. So these are what I was saying. You cannot tax the people to generate money. You can only create an avenue where you can make life meaningful and comfortable for the people. So that is just the thing, sir.
All right, then. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. But you see, let's talk about the issue of vote buying. And I'd like to go to Roy Oriabo now. Roy, I understand that your audio is a lot better now. Comrade Roy, I understand that your audio is a lot better now. So we'd like you to, in reacting, you could continue what you were trying to say earlier. But talking about vote buying, you think Nigerians are ripe enough for this message of don't sell your vote? Because what you collect today will not be enough to secure for you for the next 4 years. I was from Saturday's by-elections in Abuja and some other parts of the country. I was, listening to an interview done on the ground in Abuja there by some agents, some press, members of the press. And then a lady was asked a question, why she sold her vote. I mean, she sold her vote. And she admitted to selling her vote for 30,000 naira. And they asked her, why? Why did you sell your vote? She said, look, they know who will be there anyway. If I can't stand in the sun for hours and go home and not have food to eat. So whether I vote for them or not, they know who will be there. So if you say you don't want to give me money, then that's doubling my suffering. How about I just collect 10,000 naira and I know that at least for tonight, I have food to eat. Those were her words. Those were her words. Do you think we are ripe for this message of don't sell your vote, vote your conscience? Are we ripe for that message?
Where is the conscience in the first place? Do we have conscience in Nigeria? Those who are telling you about conscience because they are not there. We deceive ourselves in this country too much. That's my problem. We don't tell ourselves the truth because we want to criticize government. We just sit down and start cooking stories. How can 10 billion naira of a truth, can 10 billion naira win a presidential election for anybody in Nigeria? Yes,
is it the money that wins the election or the people buying into your ideology?
When I mean winning an election with 10 billion, it's not the money you are going to use to buy votes. We have to look at logistics, even in publicity. If this your station tomorrow, if the election is going on, I'm very convinced that you will also be doing so for them. From that, your salary can be paid, and they can service this station very well. Are you not going to take advert from them? Are they not going to pay your money? Logistics. Are they not going to bring buses? Are they not going to buy? In any election across the globe, is it the individuals contesting election that's supposed to bankroll itself? If you have a mission across the globe, look at how Obama won an election. Even very just now, the former president, the incumbent president of US, Donald Trump, people also raised money for him. We were told in this country that some person from here raised money for the Democrat candidate in faraway US to win an election. Is it your personal money that you are going to use to win an election? If you have a mission, you have a vision, the people who believe in you will naturally want to rally for you in terms of donation. Even in the obedient movement, was money not raised for Peter Obi in the last election? Why are we deceiving ourselves that 10 billion can win an election? Because we just want to be on the other side. 774 local governments. How are you going to spend that money? How are you going to do it that you get the result? I've decided to be telling Nigerians the truth. 10 billion cannot win an election. 10 billion cannot even win a governorship seat for you. One,
in you telling Nigerians the truth, it's interesting that you keep saying 10 billion cannot win an election, because the question on my head, the question on my mind is, do you need the money to win the election, or you need the money to campaign? Because it feels like what you're saying is the monies will be needed to win the election.
No.
And I know it's the people voting for you that wins the election for you, not the money.
Is one, look at the logistics. Talk about the publicity, the advert. When you consider only the logistics, you know what that means. When you consider the advert, you know what that means. People will be doing all those adverts, they have to pay for it in the process. On the day of campaign, people are going to cook. People will be providing food. Some persons are coming to support.
Comrade Roy, do you know what 10 billion naira is? Let's even start from 1 billion. Do you know what 1 billion naira is? 1 billion naira is
1,000 million.
1 million in 1,000 places.
Yes.
That's 1 billion.
That's 1 billion.
Yes. Mr. Koro,
so we're talking about 1 million in 3,000 places.
At the level of inflation in this country. I just told you in 2022.
Okay, now I'm happy that you brought us to the point, level of inflation. Why shouldn't this government work to bring down that level of inflation? But they go the other way. They turn around to say, oh, let us increase the space, the gap. Which one should we prefer as Nigerians? For the government to bring down inflation, or for the government to raise the cap? Which one works better for us as a people?
Said it to this program before that removal of subsidy in Nigeria was done in bad weeks. And that was the reason why everything moved. I told you just in 2023, I left Benin to Lagos and I paid 4,500 in January. I just came back from Lagos and I paid 27,800. I'm not talking about pay. This is the level of inflation. For you to belong to the system, you must call a spade a spade. The Nigerian government created the problem for us. This inflation we find ourselves. Therefore, for you to also be a partaker in the system to remain viable, you need to adjust.
All right, then. Thank you very much.
My children who go to school need the money. I was giving them 100 naira, 200 naira before. I cannot give them 1,000 naira now to go to school. After,
all right, thank you very much.
Buying the bottle, what is an issue? We must tell ourselves the truth. It's
all right, then. Thank you very much, Comrade Roy. We're closing home now. We're closing home now. Thank you very much. Let's bring it to Prince Francis Chilaka. Let's have your.
You know why I'm laughing? You know why I'm laughing? I find it quite interesting the way a lot of Nigerians reason. In one breath, you're supporting the government. In another breath, you're condemning the government. In one breath, you're telling us that the inflation we have was institutionalized by the government. And another breath, you're saying, oh, they should increase the money for campaign so that I can get to you. Is that not an aberration? We had expected that government would say, look, you must not spend more than, say, 500 million in running presidential election.
But logistics are there.
No.
It might be difficult to get
these
things in place.
Okoro,
Moses,
hold on. You are bringing yourself to serve the people. We need to understand that leadership is about service first. You're coming out to say you want to serve the people. Must you cut your neck because you want to serve the people? You can run a budget-friendly campaign. And that friendly campaign means that you reach out to the people, publicity.
Somebody did say
logistics.
He didn't have that much money, and it contributed. It may not be the reason he lost the election, but it contributed. Can we run a budget-friendly campaign?
You can.
And effectively.
You can, if there's a legislation towards it.
If there is a legislation towards it.
Yes, you can. Because when you do that, you find out that you will now have a tight budget. You won't have money to begin to buy votes. This 10 billion that has been earmarked, 80% of it is going to go for vote buying. Because at the end of the day, friends are going to do T-shirts. Friends are going to mount speakers and everything for you.
So it doesn't even come out of the 10 billion?
It doesn't come out of it. So the 10 billion you are budgeting is how much do I give to the chiefs? How much do I give to, the boys? How much? So we need to run a campaign that is based on issues.
All right, then,
and when you run campaign based on issues, you won't be talking about 10 billion.
Well, this is where we draw the curtains on this program. Thank you very much, Prince Francis Chilaka. You'll pay a fine, and we'll talk about that much later. And it will not be 3 billion, to be a whole lot more than that. Well, away from, thank you very much, Prince Francis Chilaka, for coming on the program. Thank you very much, Comrade Roy Oriabo. Also, Honorable Ejafo Eguatu and Comrade Eze Okosplendor. Thank you, gentlemen, for your immense contribution. We'll be going into paper review very shortly. That's at 10 o'clock. We'll be looking at the headlines and dissecting them, making sense of all the headlines. We'd like you to stay with us as we get into newspaper review. I am Moses Humphrey. I'll see you again at 10. Bye for now.
I'm Jane Ogoye. Join us at 10.
I'm Chukwumokoro. Bye for now.
Hello there, my name is Damilola Ogunsi, also known as the Goldfish.
Hi, my name is Chiki Wright Emmanuel. I'm an actor and a filmmaker.
Hello peeps, my name is Yomi E. Adejumo.
Hi everyone, I'm Paul Utomi.
Hi everyone, my name is Stacey Benjamin and this is Voice of the People TV.
I need you to keep it locked to VOP TV. See, I'm looking for good entertainment. You want to get good movies, good music, politics, talk shows, sports and entertainment. You really want a channel that gives you everything you need without you having to run around. VOP is where you are. That's Voice of the People.
If you're not listening to this, you're not one of us. And you deserve to be killed. Scrap chat. Don't be killed, but watch it. Or I'll find you.
and I want you. And you are locked on VOP TV. Don't go nowhere. This is where the juice is. This is where all you need for entertainment, politics, movies, and whatnot.
And keep watching VOP TV.
So keep it locked because I'm locked already, man, and it's money back guarantee. So you're gonna have a good time because I do.
And please keep watching VOP TV.
I want you to actually, I beg you, subscribe, watch it. If not, whatever you see.
You better not touch that die because VOP is the plot.
Behind every broken desk lies a broken promise. Education shapes the nations. But who is asking the right questions? Introducing Edu Dialogue, the show that goes beyond the surface, exposes the cracks, the corruption, and the silence in Nigeria's education system. Edu Dialogue, Saturdays, 3 p.m., only on VOP TV. We break the biggest stories, from missing funds to policy failures. We ask the tough questions and demand real answers. Edu Dialogue, this Saturday, 3 p.m. on Voice of the People Television.
Join us as we drive into the world of politics through insightful interviews with prominent political figures, both serving and former governors, ministers, senators, legislators, party chieftains, activists, and analysts. Get first-hand information into the decision-making processes that affect our daily lives. Highly engaging one-hour program that brings political discourse into focus.
I am Chukwuma Okoro.
Political Lens, Monday through Friday, 6 to 7 p.m. Join us. The red carpets, awards, the razzmatazz, music, fashion, interviews, and more. Spotlight on Voice of the People Television. Let's feed you with all the juicy stories in the global entertainment space, bringing you the glitz and glamour as it is hot. Stay tuned to Spotlight, 1 p.m. Monday to Friday. Spotlight on VOP TV. Entertainment like never before. Do you want your voice to be heard? Do you know that you matter in the scheme of things? The People's Voice, the show where ordinary citizens take center stage as we discuss the biggest stories that affect you and I. With you in mind, we facilitate lively discussions, debates, and interviews on the topics that matter most to you and I, from social justice to economic empowerment, education to healthcare, governance, and more, tackling tough topics and amplifying your voice. Join the conversation and make your voice count. The People's Voice. Make your voice count.
We encourage you to click on the like button and subscribe to our YouTube channel. We are Voice of the People TV. Also follow us on all our social media platforms. We are at VOP TV Live. Visit our website www.vop.ng for fresh and trending news. Also watch us live on SLTV channel 264. VOP TV, Voice of the People.
Welcome to Newspaper Review. I am Moses Humphrey. And of course, it's a full house. It's a full house. I'll be introducing our analyst for today.
Hello, thank you so much for joining us on Newspaper Review. I'm Jane Ogoye.
All right, that's my colleague Jane. And then we have Elvis Elimehele. He joins the conversation. Good morning to you.
Good morning, Moses.
Public Affairs commentator. We have Dele Fanimo, also a reporter and a public affairs commentator. And Mr. Darlington Agumo, a legal practitioner and also a public affairs commentator. Gentlemen, welcome. Welcome to the program. It's the 24th day of February 2020. 6th, the month of love. Interesting month it is. I like love. So, yes, I like to talk
I don't
about
despise love.
You don't despise love?
Yes, love makes the world go round.
Yes, money makes the world go round.
No, love.
Love? Okay.
Money, love.
Well, if you want to combine.
Love of money.
Love and money goes together.
Love and money. Oh, well. Tinubu vows to establish state police to curb insecurity. I am determined to rescue this country, and as long as we work together in delivering hope to our citizens, the best is yet to come. That's from the Vanguard newspaper. That's the headline there from the Vanguard. And then we have some of the headlines. I'll just go through other headlines here as well. 2027 Post. Vote buying, violence, threat to electoral legitimacy. NPC. JAM. Students must not pay for system failures. Peter Obi. Also, we have no bank, no problem. How shuffle.com. Okay, that's an advertorial. New U.S. tariffs take effect after Supreme Court ruling. FCT polls APGA candidates accept AMAC result. Says won't challenge APC win. And yes, these are some of the headlines that you will find inside, on the cover page and inside the Vanguard newspaper. 53,790 held in prisons without trial. That's another of the headlines there. Why? Well, Wike cancels 485 Abuja land titles after failed verification. All right? Yeah, those are some of the headlines. I'm going to get to the writers of that big story there on the cover page of the Vanguard newspaper. But, gentlemen, let's have your take now.
I want to go with this establishment of state police. The caption is not too comfortable for me. I don't like the idea of the president saying, I will give you state police. The ones he did, has he settled it? When he started the local government financial autonomy, has he settled that before going into another one? These are federal issues. It's not a personal matter. You cannot establish state police on your own. You can't. It's a constitutional matter. So when he make all these sweeping statements, he don't even think of the implication. Until when the chiefs are done, he will not realize that he made a blunder. The state, local government autonomy, has he settled it? Is it working? Is it functioning? The answer is capital no, because the constitution has not been tinkered with. And so you are talking of state police. How will you even curb the insecurity? If the federal police, as we have them today, cannot, why not even look at the real issues? The real issues are the politicians. The politicians who have not allowed the security agencies to do their work as that they should do it. They are the ones who are supposed to give them the marching order. And so, when you talk of state police, how can you curb the insecurity? Can you pay them? Is it every state in this country today that can have state police? Where will the money come from? These are issues that you should have thought of before bringing another problem into our life.
I think when the president says, I will, he's talking about his government. The head of this government as we speak today is President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. No, you made mention of local government autonomy. I know, I heard of that. But the state police is talking about his government will definitely find solution to that and he will give it to Nigeria. Nigerians have been yearning for state police and it's overdue. If you are talking about whether the state can pay, it is not even this time that somebody will say state cannot pay. There's no state in Nigeria now that cannot adequately pay state police. You will even agree with me now that almost all the states in Nigeria have all these local vigilante, and they still manage them, they pay them, and they maintain them. So with what they receive, the FAC allocation they get in Abuja, now there's no state that cannot adequately manage state police. And we have just, by this 2026, now with this executive order that he just signed, NNPC payment directly into federal account. Now that is also coming to show up.
Which is illegal.
No, we are not talking about whether legal or illegal here, but we are talking about the statement he made now that is going to give us state police. So, question of whether the state will be able to finance state police does not even arise at all. If the governors cut down in their profligacy lifestyle that they have in their respective state houses, they'll be able to finance state police. All the governors you see in Nigeria, they have security budget, which you and I is not aware of the amount of money. If they channel that into state police will work. And to talk of whether state police will be able to help to assist to fight insecurity, state police will be able to assist. Because we are talking about police being state citizens being recruited into these state police who know the terrain of their states better off. I remember some years in 1987 when we had the issue of Anini in my state then, Bende State. In 1987 when we have issue of Anini, IBB categorically said, let Pari Osayende go back to his state to go and Omebe, it was first friend Omebe could not achieve it. Yes, his driver was killed in the process. So in answer, Pari, even in one of the Supreme Military Council's meetings, say, why is Anini? Where is Anini? He said, where is Anini? He was asking the IG. He said, where is Anini? Then that was when the assignment was given to Pari Osayende. Then go back to Benin and make sure you fish out Anini. And he did the job. What are we talking about? Because he knows the terrain. That's exactly the area we are going back to now when we have that state police. So state police is as important as any other thing because they'll be able to know where this. Talking of this forest, is there anybody within the state who doesn't know his forest better than the miscreants that are coming in and are coming to adopt people in the forest that does not even belong to them? They cannot know the forest in my place more than me. So state police is overdue.
We are missing.
As a matter of fact, you see, when presidents make pronouncements, they make pronouncements on behalf of the state.
Exactly.
And if they are saying, I will, it is not personal. Trump will say, I will go to that place. I will do this. I will do this. It's the moment you surrender your sovereignty through voting to a particular president. That president is the overall boss of that country. And he can make pronouncements that way. Two, either we like it or not, there is no better option than state police. Even the states, as we speak, they are the ones partially funding the federal police. In Lagos, for instance, there is this trust fund, security over the years.
And it's been working well.
Since this man that succeeded Tinubu, Fashola, they have been paying, banks were paying, and they use this proceeds to buy ammunition, buy platoon jackets, buy vehicles, and all that.
Communication gadgets.
If they can do that, even while assisting the federal police, and there is no state in this country that does not do this. At all. There is no state. So the fact that we are saying that we cannot fund state police, I think it's out of it. We can adequately sponsor and look at ISBA. Kano. What I said, I've been sponsoring ISBA. And they have the medical strength that requires, as a matter of fact, if there is state police today in Nigeria, all they need to do is to transform ISBA to state police.
Yes.
And if there is going to be any state police today
in Lagos,
Nigeria,
we have neighborhood watch.
Yes,
neighborhood watch.
If Amotekun can transform, please, because most of these people are indigenous of that state, and they know the terrain. As a matter of fact, Amotekun today does more of forest guard than the city center. If you see one Amotekun on the street in the state capital or major town, you will see 10 of them in the forest. So what we are saying is there is no way a DPO that does not know Lagos will come to Makinde and begin to operate adequately, effectively in Makinde police station. But bring somebody who grew up in Oshodi, Mafoluku, as DPO of Makinde. The first day he gets there, he already knows the bad boys in Makinde, around the Mafoluku area. So he would rather call them and say, look, I have come, you cannot come and destroy my job. It's either you relocate or you have me to contend with. And it will work that way. Yeah, in so many other places, we have seen it work. You recall that there was a time, one particular IG said, DPOs should be drafted to their local government of origin.
Yes.
It worked.
It did.
It worked.
Now, what I'm saying in essence is that you cannot form state police in the midst of this insecurity and expect them to perform. Let the federal government, with all the paraphernalia of office, with all the power they have, clear this insecurity that have invaded Nigeria. They came from outside. The chief of army staff have told us that these people are from outside. And so it behoves on the federal government to clear these things first. They have the power. They have all it takes to clear these people. Let them give, the political will is what is needed here. You cannot solve this problem with state police. It can never happen. After all, when they formed that for Amoteku, they told us that with it, nothing. But today, with Amoteku in Ondo and other, they are still hitting them there.
All right.
They are still hitting them in Ondo with Amoteku. Even in Badon, some people are crying that Tinubu have led them to die in the southwest. They have written to him. So what exactly are we talking about here? Do the needful. The military are the ones to do this job. Or are you going to form a state army? Hold on. Are you going to form state army with the terrorists? The federal government is what I'm calling upon to do this job. After all, they know what to do, but they refuse to do it. They are calling police. Which police? What times are you going to give this police? Clear them away, then you can form state police. This terrorism that have been tribalized and politicized, is that what the state police are going to do for you? No, tell me. Let us call a spade here. You can't put this insecurity and expect them to perform. It can never happen. It can't. That's what I'm saying. Let them do the needful.
Right, let's move on to another headline now. Behind bars for years, 53,790 held in prisons without trial. That's also on the cover page of the Vanguard there. It says, how 53,790 inmates languish in punitive cells for years without conviction. 2 out of 3 inmates are waiting trial. Lagos, Ogun, Kano, Enugu prisons lead with 15,133. Bayelsa, Benue, Kogi behind with 1,363. Petty offenses account for 85% of awaiting trial. Petty offenses account for 85% of awaiting trial cases. And then we have police, justice ministries, judiciary share blame. Lagos, AG, NHRC, RULAC, PRAWA, PFN, others react. Police, mum.
This is very simple. We've always had this, and it's not just something that happened today. I recall that there was a time a CJN, I think it was Bello then, CJN said that magistrates' courts should be established within the precinct of prisons, so that it will ease this problem of saying, there was no vehicle to bring suspects, there was no logistic to do this and all that. So that if there are some offenses that should be reviewed occasionally, the misdemeanor thoughts are offenses that you can place people on suspended conviction. And ADR is also there. Some of these alternatives are not being put to use. Today, a case will come up against a suspect and they will say there is no vehicle. And it will not even be the responsibility of the warder to go back to that court to take a new date. So along the line, the case is lost and the man is suffering in the prisons. How many times had CJN of various states visited these prisons to take a review? Do you know that they even, according to reports we had, there was a time they said they were swapping prisoners. You know? And so, if there is conscious effort to make sure that there is this constant review. Today, if you go to police stations now, we are not saying they are there. But because of adequate monitoring, you hardly see policemen misbehaving as much as they were misbehaving before in the police stations. Because the CP, there is a body formed that can go into any police station today and ask for the offense of detainees. And if they have not been charged to court, they will force them to charge them to court immediately. And the money is allocated to the prisons. What they use this money for, I don't know. Are we going to blame president for allocating money that is not put to use by these warders? Now, you need to see the food they give to these inmates. Ordinarily, these are things that you cannot even do to animals. It will be seen as cruelty to an animal, yet they give it to. You can imagine a cell that is meant for just 8 people. You see 40 people crowded in that cell, and then you have communicable diseases ravaging that particular cell. So, almost on a daily basis, they bury people that are not reported in these prisons and for minor offenses. Some people even use their executive fiat to keep people in prison for known offense, and those people will rot in the prison. Then, what about Ministry of Justice? What are they doing? If a case file is sent to you for BPP's advice, why should you keep it for so long a time that even at some point that person is forgotten in the prison? You see people coming out of prison after 12 years for an offense. If they were convicted, it would have served up to 12 years, maybe at best, maybe 2 years in prison. Now that person has spent 12 years. Who pays compensation for a wasted 10-year life of a human being like you? Nobody. Because for every infraction, there is no punishment. And that's why it goes on and on and on and on. And nobody cares because it's not the big man. So my submission today, my conclusion on this is that it is a sin to become to be a Mr. Nobody in this country.
I think I love this this investigation that Vanguard did on this matter.
Because they are close to Kirikiri.
Well, that is part of it. That could be part of it. You see, when the name was changed from prison to correctional center, I thought some of these things would have been put in place. It's not just coming to change name and change the signpost that matters. What it matters is the people that are supposed to rehabilitate, are they actually feeling the impact of this change of name? It is absolutely no. Talking about 53,000. Do you know what that means? That's almost like a local government population that you are talking that they are in the prison, you know, and said 80-something% of them are waiting trial. What now makes every 3 2-hour waiting trial? What now makes it that our court system is not working as expected? This is the issue. Sometimes you see a case that will now linger for 12 years, 14 years, 15 years. Some of them are even, they tell you, oh, this was supposed to be just ordinary civil case. Maybe somebody just assault, fighting on the street, you know, or one big man that has money will just put in there. Why is it that the justice system is not actually looking into all this? I expected that since they changed that name to correctional center, some of these things would have been taken care of. Then human rights should also make it, point to visit prison often. When I was a copper, I was a member of the prison visitation team from my fellowship. What I saw then in Uyo prison is something that when I still remember today, I feel like crying. The dilapidating situation in Uyo prison. Then, these prisoners will bring out their beds every week, put fire on it to burn bed bugs. Wow. They put fire on their bed to burn bed bugs before they now return it. If you see the food prisoners eat, oh my God, I weep. The first time I went for that fellowship visitation to prison, I couldn't stay. And that is what, if the population is not as much as what we are talking about now. And now look at the population. And look at the situation. 53,000. That's almost a population of a local government. Wow. So if the federal government is not looking into this report after it has been published today, I think the Minister for Interior, Nigerians have actually said is doing very well. he should look into this situation.
And
I'm talking about Dr. Tunji
The most
Ojo.
interesting parties, or the most heartbreaking parties, 2 out of 3 of them are
waiting trial. Why is the justice system delaying this thing? If there are like Mr. Fanimo has said here, why don't you use the alternative dispute resolution to keep some people out of the prison? Then keep those ones that are necessary to be there. Not just that every prison thing, the person is thrown into the cell. And Nigeria policemen are also very, very happy to say, oh, we are taking you to the cell. They dump you in the cell. From the cell, they take you to court. And sometimes the magistrate, sometimes they tell you the case file is not even before the magistrate.
You see, there is a problem here that is behoves on the society to address. I have always said it that it is the society that prepares the crime. The criminal just commits it. The society led the criminal to his criminal lifestyle, and they will turn around and blame him. If you said you have a place where you correct people, and you are just taking them there to go and learn all the bad things on earth. So what is the correction? You can see how we contradict ourselves. In such an environment now, how can you correct anybody there? How can you? The criminal justice system starts with the police at the police station. It is what they take to the court that the judge will be looking at, or the magistrates. If you do not train police on how to manage cases, what is it going to do in the court? I have seen cases where the judge and the magistrate are telling the police, this charge shouldn't be here. What is the reason for bringing this charge here? You start educating them again. A police officer, the IPO, the prosecutor. These are issues. So when you don't take care of this from the grassroots, please, what are you going to do at the top? And so when the police is frustrated, they don't go and dump the person in the prison and hands off the case. 90% of the time, that's what they do. They don't put up a charge. When they go there, they remind the person, and that's all. The man will say, yes, at least he will be free from the case. So we don't have investigative police officers who just do diligence whenever a case is launched off. If you go and see...
Barrister, yes. I want to disagree with you there.
In what way? Where are you disagreeing?
I don't agree that the issue is that we don't have investigative officers. I don't think we don't. I hear that Nigerian... Well, I have been in a police station. I have been to a couple of times. But what I'm trying to say is the system is corrupt. So even the so-called, specialized officers can't even do their job. And this charge and bail thing, this prison, dumping people into the cell is a very quick business deal for the Nigerian police. So that's where they make a lot of their money.
Yeah, you don't contradict yourself. Okay. You said they don't do their job.
Yeah.
And then it's a big business for them. And you are saying that you don't agree with me that you don't have investigative...
No, you said we don't have investigative police officers. And I said the problem is not the absence of this investigative police officers. The absence is that the problem is corruption and them not doing their job. But what just came to my mind was October 2025 when President Tinubu granted clemency to, I think, over 75. I think he brought... Okay, maybe I should just let you laugh.
Yes.
But it just brought to mind that the justice system in Nigeria is terribly flawed as well.
Good, because when you are copying, the world is a global village. In Scandinavian countries today, they are closing down their prisons because the rate of crime is nothing. And that is not there. And when you see the few that are in prison, you see how they treat them. They serve themselves. They take care of them. They cook their own food. You'll be asking yourself, is this man living in his house or in prisons? No, seriously, we have seen it on CNN. They showed it. And people were asking, so this is how prison look like. And so when you train somebody from that place and let him come out, he will be a better person in the society. But you know our mentality. Moses, do you know the mentality of the average police or cell or whatever? If you don't deal hard with them, if you don't teach them lessons, they will not learn. Yes. So they put you in a hard place. In fact, a lot they used to infect the place with mosquito and bed bug.
They used to.
So that when you come out, you go learn. You don't like to call to police. You don't like to call. These are the mentality that is driving this thing we are talking about.
But I think Nigeria is also ripe for her own Guantanamo Bay. I think so. For those agents, it's not this de-radicalization we are doing. That's why they should dump them.
Both the innocent and the hardened criminal, you put them together. So tell me what will happen if you now bring them out of that,
especially at that level of awaiting trial, which they say is even more there. 80-something%. You pack both the criminals together with even those ones with lesser.
I was even thinking that when they want to pardon people, they would have looked at these people with lesser crime, maybe all the petty pickpockets and all that, who are maybe fines and all that. You can say, okay, those between these brackets and awaiting trial, all of you should go. You should leave the prison premises. That is the way. One of the hardened criminals you have in this country today, Golo, I don't know whether he's dead or not. Do you know why he became a deadly animal? He was picked out at mile 2 for wandering. Because he didn't have 2,000 naira to bail himself when police took him. They dumped him inside prison. He stayed 7 good years there. 7 good years, no trial, This guy came out and said, look, he must deal with the police. He said he killed more than 50 before they took him in at the state hearing party. 50! This guy became deadly because of that incident. So these are issues. If you read the story of Anini again, somebody splashed water on him or something. And because of that, the guy says, so because I don't have cash. So these are issues. So the society, there's the way we treat our fellow human beings, that you make their mind go, that their mind will go off humanity because of the experience they have gone through. You teach them, you make them look like they are nothing. So how can they become a human being? How can they? Look at this, we are talking about political talks now. Who hired them? Elvis, is it not somebody that hired them?
Yes.
That's you hire them and then you want them to be a good citizen.
Oh, well, let's touch on something else. El-Rufai files 1 billion naira suit against ICPC, others over invasion of residence.
Yes.
Elvis Olemehele.
I think he has that right to file whatever he wants to file, but the security paraphernalia to have the right to, if there are some documents that they need to cite, they have the right to also say, okay, let us go and search his house to see if we can get those documents. Unfortunately, most of those things that is happening to him now, he also did it to people, or innocent people, when he was governor of Kaduna State. He adopted people, and he made security agencies to also search people's house. So what goes around comes around.
Okay.
The more I always say is that the one I'm not always comfortable with when the opposition starts saying, oh, because he's in opposition, that's why he's being selective trial. I don't believe in that. If you have any case before the state to answer, you will be called for it. Nobody is above the law. So especially when the crime is against Nigerians. If you embezzle the state money and you are alleged that you are embezzling state money, you have to be called to come and answer for it, because that embezzlement has put some people to death. It has brought some people, taken some people out of school. Some people have died as a result of insecurity, money made for it. So there are so many things that are laced with when there is an embezzlement or corruption in whatever form, whether it's state or in federal. So anybody that is fingered in such circumstances must face the law. So whether he's ICPC is not a small organization, they should be able to also appear in court and defend themselves as expected. But nobody should. I don't think this thing on political ground or it's an opposition. That's why a member of the opposition. That's why no. If you dip your hands in the cooking jar and the system, the law of the state catches you, and they feel that you need to be tried, you should be tried appropriately, as expected.
All right, then. Thank you very much.
As a matter of fact, for me, I think El-Rufai is deluding himself, because that you held power yesterday does not make you a power holder today. Like Elvis said, what goes around comes around. There was a time this man, without any court process, would demolish people's house.
Yes.
There was a time he would take people's house and give it to, and sell it to another person. at the time when he was FCT minister, I intervened in one case that I had to deal back to back with the reports before that woman could get, a widow could get her house back, a widow retiree, you know. So today, maybe he felt deluded that Nigerians will rise against government over his travel.
Yes.
Is it Southern Kaduna people that will come and say they want to defend El-Rufai for what he did to them? The same Kaduna that was a bedlam, that was akin to that of a plateau as we witnessed today. The same Kaduna, Sani Ubak got there and he stabilized the state. So what are we talking about? He also confessed that he was paying bandits. To give semblance of peace in Kaduna. Whereas it was also rumored that he was part of the people that brought in these elements just to railroad Jonathan out of government. You know, so it's a question of what goes around comes around. And over this matter of because I'm in opposition, that's why they are haunting me. The question is, Buba Galadima was a very close friend to Buhari before Buhari got into government. They fell apart. Buhari appointed his daughter into his government, but he never stopped. Nobody arrested him up to today. Peter Obi, that is one of the traducers of this government, nobody has arrested Peter Obi for any malfeasance in Anambra or elsewhere. Nobody has arrested him for not paying taxes over his businesses in Nigeria. Then what are we going to say about El-Rufai? El-Rufai has steered the honest nest. Then let him carry the brunt. Nobody should even, as far as I'm concerned, I don't have pity for him. I don't have pity for him. That's the truth.
All right, then let's move on to another headline.
All right. Barrister Agwema, I'm sure you like this one. The Daily Independent leads with 2027 election. Opposition parties consider collaboration to battle APC.
Did they what? Daily what?
Daily Independent. Opposition parties.
Election.
That is what I've been seeing since last year.
Well,
in fact,
let's look
the
at
one
the
I said yesterday.
Before you respond, let's look at the parties here. The PDP, People's Democratic Party, PDP, Labour Party, Action Democratic Party, ADP, and Action Alliance. They have indicated readiness to collaborate.
Go
PDP,
on, please.
ADP.
Thank God. I see these people on the paper had me yesterday. In my show yesterday on the radio, I said that the opposition are not doing enough. They should have come together. Do you think
any collaboration that involves the PDP will sail through?
Why not? After they have a local government chairman in Abuja now, they got
after they came on camera to chant PDAPC.
No, they have gotten a chairman there. So I have said it yesterday. Of course, those who don't want to listen, you can see the heat is generating all over the place, as if I am demarketing some people. When I say come together, please, what is wrong with that? So go and listen to that show. Yes, just yesterday. And now they are reporting me to everybody and every person. Can you just imagine? If you don't come together, how can you make this? Just yesterday's show. And they are reporting even to the chairman. They are telling the chairman, what did I say wrong? Did I say don't contest this election? I only said come together, plan strategically. Is that a bad advice?
Barrister, earlier in the show, on the show this morning, we also talked about the election reforms that has pegged presidential elections at 10 billion, right?
Yes.
10 billion. What's your take on that one?
That money is the groundnut money compared to what is going on now. Is it the groundwork? Is it the money for those you are going to see? Is it the money for mobilization or what? That money, you know very well that money is on paper. In reality, they spend way more than
Who is monitoring?
Who is giving account?
Who is giving account? Who is monitoring it? All those are just mere paper
I'm
things.
telling you.
We know too well in Nigeria that for you to become a president, 10 billion naira cannot solve it.
Well,
you know how much it takes to hire a private aircraft to fly around Nigeria and from state to state? Don't we see the podium, how sophisticated their podium is, the dressing alone? They are dressing. I'm not even talking of the officials, not even to talk of the crowd.
The money you pay to
but is the contribution not part of the 10 billion we are talking about?
Who will help you in the election? The money you pay to them, because
10 billion naira is
Let's
just
talk about this
paper.
one. Let's talk about opposition parties coming.
Yeah, the coming together is a good one. If they can actually,
The party stated here. Do you think they can actually work?
yeah, if they, that's where I was going, Moses. If really they can come together and say, okay, this is the time for us to actually, there has to be some sacrifice. It must not be that it will favor, whatever you need as a PDP or whatever I need as a AA or whatever. You understand? But if you know you have a common goal, this is to fight APC, come together.
Which PDP?
Which PDP?
Yes.
The PDP that just won a local government election in Abuja.
Wike PDP.
Whichever.
Whichever one. Whichever one. Will it not even be too good if it's Wike PDP that is joining together with others to form the coalition to remove APC? It will even be a good one. That will even become a history. So whichever one.
If the coalition
they should share this toga.
If the coalition become too big, they will swallow Wike and his faction. They will swallow him.
Absolutely. It can be buried.
Okay.
It can be buried.
Telephonimo, let's get your contribution.
You see, there is this analogy of how they catch monkeys in the Caribbean countries. What they do is they get a gorge, the entrance to the gorge is narrow. They perforate it and put banana inside. When the monkey is dipping its hand, it goes straight. But when you get hold of that banana, it becomes a clenched fist. You cannot pull it out. So rather than letting go the banana and escape, you will be seeing present danger. But the greed in that monkey to make sure that it takes out that banana will overtake him to the point that the man will come and arrest him, put chain in his waist and take him away. It's the same thing with our politicians in Nigeria. You see, who are these opposition people that they can let go? They will not let go. Everybody wants to be on the driver's seat. And when you want to become the driver, the other person wants to become the driver, then it becomes a bedlam. That is why it is very, very difficult, if not impossible. The only set of people that I see in this country having seen politics firsthand, played firsthand, are the Northerners. The Northerner, if there are 3-4 people contesting for an election, the elders, the emirs will sit them down and say, look, you are still a young man. You have your day later on. Please, allow your elder brother to go. And then the elder brother, they will extract commitment from the elder brother and say, now that you are going, you cannot forget your junior brother. So these are the things. Okay, give him 5 commissioners, give him 2 board chairmen, give him board membership and all that. So they will settle themselves. But here in the South, it is some zero politics.
Wow.
And that is why coalition cannot work. Because majority of these people that are driving this coalition thing are Southerners. Yeah. And the Northerners amongst them only wait for them to kill themselves and then come around to pick the spoil. And that's what usually happens. Right. Look at what happened in 2022. Atiku waited and allowed the Southerners to make sure that they edge themselves out, and he came back to pick the ticket. That's what's going to happen now. This year, you'll see it play out. Because anything that is driven by greed would always fail. And our politicians are too greedy. They want sub-zero victory. And it's not going to work.
All right. So while we are still hoping that opposition would galvanize...
Well, let's hope.
Well, we're still hoping. It's hope. The APC, according to the Daily Independent, the APC has unveiled an institute to shape Nigeria's political direction.
The former an institute, Abi?
Yes.
That was a democratic institute established by Babangida.
Yeah.
And it's still functioning. So why duplicate that? The point is, you see, if a thief says, let me secure your house for you, and you contract that thief to secure your house, be sure that by the time you wake up the following morning, you may be on the bare floor you would have carted away even your bed.
It might be the reverse. It might be the reverse.
He might want to scare off other his friends when they know that it's their brother, that is their friend that is there. They may not come. You see, all these institutes actually, if they come up with a good intention towards it, it's supposed to have drive democracy to a level that everybody will begin to understand what democracy actually means and bring maturity and civilization into it. But unfortunately, the people who are even instituting the institute are people of questionable character. Has APC actually fared well in Nigeria democracy?
That's the analogy
for them to actually say they are not giving Nigeria institute. They have not fared well. An average Nigerian on the street today will tell you APC institute, they will not attend it when it comes to democracy. They will never attend it. They don't allow people to protest. They don't even allow people to criticize them. They don't, everything about one party, everybody is not joining their party because they are the best. They feel they are the best. So what characteristics of democracy have they actually put in place that will now attract people to say we want to attend an institute, a democratic institute set up by APC? It is not there. Very hostile to electorate. By the time people queue up in a polling booth, they go there and say leave the booth because you are not voting for us. Is that democratic? No. That's not democratic. No. So many things that is wrong with APC. So they are not the one to give Nigeria institute of democracy. Nigeria knows the democratic institute they will attend when the time comes.
It is APC's turn.
Now, there is something they said.
There was a time PDP was also dealing with Nigerians. But APC will pass.
It's not as difficult as this. PDP never went to the queue to start driving people, passing people they feel they will not vote for them away from the polling booths and say, don't come out, don't vote. PDP do that.
Do they have talk?
PDP never did that. That is even the one. That is even that's the biggest. PDP had talk, but they never went to the queue to go and start driving voters out. That's one of the biggest things that will bring problem in 2027 general election. A repetition of what we saw in 2023 election in Lagos, especially gubernatorial election when people were being chased out of the queue. We saw it even in presidential election when people were being beaten.
Was it only in Lagos?
I mean, no, it was not only in Lagos.
You were only private to what happened
in Lagos because I was an observer.
Yes,
I was an observer. So
I was in Ondo and Ekiti. It also happened.
So if that repeats itself,
that's the problem. It is only when it doesn't favor you to getting what you want that you complain.
Look, there is something I want to say here. I don't like the idea of us going back. We are thinking of moving forward. Moses, what is wrong if somebody come and say, I don't want this type of attitude in our election? Yeah. Jonathan said he doesn't want the blood of one Nigerian for his election. And he kept to it. So, if it happen here, is that what we want to eat? Let somebody say, we don't want this thing. I fought for democracy. I know what it means. And this is what I want to do. Please, will it not be to his credit when he leaves office? This electoral reform now, we are giving it to Yar'Adua. He was the one that started it after he looked at how he came into office. Is that not true? We are giving it to him. That's what we are talking about. That's what we call a leader. Don't think of yourself. Think of tomorrow. All this things that they are creating now, tomorrow now, we'll start blaming the person that will meet it. But who started it? Nobody wants to talk about it. That's what I'm saying here. Look, they say necessity is the mother of invention. Now that the opposition have realized that they have a common enemy, it is now left for them to think twice. All this ego, I said it yesterday on my show. Let people drop their ego if they want to go far in this battle.
All right, and there are two other headlines I would like us to react to, but we are out of time. But let me just take one. 6.2 trillion naira debt. Genco's warn of power sector collapse. That's one. And then sit at home. Anambra government shuts auto spare parts market. All right? So you might just react to whichever one you think tickles your fancy.
You see, this Genco thing, when federal government went into it to audit, they discovered that out of this 6 trillion, only 2.8 were verifiable. Where would that 3.2, where would it have gone to if there was no verification? It means it's fraud with opacity, and it's something
it's almost like a subsidy.
Subsidy, yes. So look at that humongous padding, 3.2 trillion. And 3.2 trillion you know what 3.2 trillion can do, and just a subsector, generating sector of power that is just a subsector of the economy. People are padding. Is it government that is padding that? Is it not individuals? Is it not corporate organizations? Now, 3.2 trillion. I mean, what does it tell us? That everywhere is a landscape, a cesspit of corruption.
All right.
And the only thing is attitudinal change. That's the only problem. That's the only solution that can solve this problem.
Attitudinal change.
Well, if it has to be, if it is coming from Nigerians, that attitudinal change is going to be difficult to see. Because
it comes from the leadership.
Leadership have not shown that example for you. That's where I'm going.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you are the top, you are living that kind of lifestyle, then what do you expect from the people that are looking at you? If they show good leadership, this padding will reduce. We are talking about this Gen Koto now. The 2026 budget. Do you know how much is padded here? We'll begin by budget it. When budget it to start giving us analysis of this before the end of this year, you will see what these legislators are doing to us, all in the name of constituency projects. This is where it begins. The same electricity we are having all these issues now. How many people put on their own lights in their house and enjoy this as expected? But they can come to the newspaper now and cry foul because it's affecting them. The one that be affecting Nigerians over the years, buying petrol every day to power their generator, nobody cares about that. That's where the issue lies. Greed, what we talk about. So the leadership should show good example for things of this nature to work out as expected.
If this discourse, or do I call it GenCos anyway, if they have been given a marching order by the federal government, will they disobey? Give every Nigerian prepaid meter. And if you fail to do that, don't go and collect any bill from them. Because it is this estimated bill that is causing this problem. Because if I have my prepaid meter, and will you come and say I am owing you? So this money now is all about what? Estimated billing. Where you give somebody living in a one-bedroom apartment 200,000 to pay you at the end of the month as NEPA bill. Is it possible? And when the person could not pay, you now add it as part of the money they are owing you, and you now take it to the federal government. I don't did an analysis the other time. So government should not listen to this discourse or whatever they call their name. They should tell us how that money came about. That's what I'm saying here. The federal government should give marching order. If you don't give Nigerian prepaid meter, don't talk of any bill. Because if I have a prepaid meter, how can I be owing you? How?
All
this
right,
is the issue, yes.
Yes. These are the issues, and this would be a good place to anchor the program today. Thank you very much, Elvis Elemehele, for your contribution. Thank you, Dele Fanimo, as well, and Mr. Darlington Agomo, legal practitioner. Well, thank you very much, gentlemen. Well, that's it on the show. That's it on the show today. I am Moses Humphrey, wishing you a beautiful day ahead.
And I'm Jane Ogoye. Please join us tomorrow morning for POP This Morning at 8.
Behind every broken desk lies a broken promise. Education shapes the nations. But who is asking the right questions? Introducing Edu Dialogue, the show that goes beyond the surface, exposes the cracks, the corruption, and the silence in Nigeria's education system. Edu Dialogue, Saturdays, 3 p.m., only on VOP TV. We break the biggest stories, from missing funds to policy failures. We ask the tough questions and demand real answers. Edu Dialogue, this Saturday, 3 p.m. on Voice of the People Television.
Join us as we drive into the world of politics through insightful interviews with prominent political figures, both serving and former governors, ministers, senators, legislators, party chieftains, activists, and analysts. Get first-hand information into the decision-making processes that affect our daily lives. Highly engaging 1-hour program that brings political discourse into focus.
I am Chukwuma Okoro.
Political Lens, Monday through Friday, 6 to 7 p.m. Join us. Do you want your voice to be heard? Do you know that you matter in the scheme of things? The People's Voice, the show where ordinary citizens take center stage as we discuss the biggest stories that affect you and I. With you in mind, we facilitate lively discussions, debates, and interviews on the topics that matter most to you and I, from social justice to economic empowerment, education to healthcare, governance, and more, tackling tough topics and amplifying your voice. Join the conversation and make your voice count. The People's Voice. Make your voice count.
To know the happenings in the maritime sector, join us on the program Maritime Frontiers on VOP TV as we discuss key areas in the maritime sector from aquaculture, maritime transportation, maritime labor regulation, oil and gas exploration, ferry and passenger insurance, marine pollution and prevention, port operations, and lots more. Maritime Frontiers, exploring Nigeria's blue economy.
we encourage you to click on the like button and subscribe to our YouTube channel. We are Voice of the People TV. Also follow us on all our social media platforms. We are at VOP TV Live. Visit our website www.vop.ng for fresh and trending news. Also watch us live on SLTV channel 264. VOP TV, Voice of the People Television.
The red carpets, awards, the razzmatazz, music, fashion, interviews, and more. Spotlight on Voice of the People Television. Let's feed you with all the juicy stories in the global entertainment space, bringing you the glitz and glamour as they hot. Stay tuned to Spotlight, 1 p.m. Monday to Friday. Spotlight on VOP TV. Entertainment like never before.
In a world where power shifts with every headlines, news breaks and events happens, we bring you unbiased and explicit information on politics, economy, and state of the nation. We break down the chaos. Facts, not fluff. Truth, not spin. We discuss not just politics, but a glimpse into the future. Voice of the People Television. Now you have more than a voice.
In a world where truth is the ultimate power and opinions scream the loudest, it's time to wade through the noise.
Hunger no get tribe! Hunger no get religion!
And scan the human interest and trending topics that matter. Stay tuned to The Issues, your plug to the stories making the buzz, from politics to science and technology, social justice, and more. Let's tackle the tough questions and expose the truth. The Issues on Voice of the People Television, Mondays to Fridays, 8 to 9 p.m. The Issues. Don't just react, understand.
This is Health Check, your weekly guide to better living, smarter choices, and trusted answers. From everyday wellness to urgent health issues, we've got you covered. Health Check, only on Voice of the People Television, where your health has a voice.
This is African News on Voice of the People Television, where we don't just bring you the news, we bring you Africa's heartbeats, the policies that shapes our world, and the economy that determines our future. African News on Voice of the People Television. Stay with us.
Conversations shaping the future of learning in Nigeria and beyond.
In a world where power shifts with every headline,
In a nation full of questions.
In a world filled with noise, the truth needs a voice.
The policies that shapes our world, and the economy that determines our future.
Every hour, every day, the grapevine keeps buzzing. And together, we are committed to telling the stories that shape our world, because your voice is our focus.
Don't forget,